Go to 520. Then we need to come all the way down here and break this support.
Please, everyone, if you can mute your microphones.
Okay.
Hi, Mike. How are you? Hey.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep, just like more people.
Okay. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Village of West Hampton Dunes April meeting, March meeting. I'm sorry. We're going to start the meeting with a pledge. Do we have a pledge?
I'm sorry. I think it'd be better if we just ask them to keep it down.
Yeah.
Ventilation.
At work those days for the beach house.
I'm sorry, somebody's speaking. And not.
I still gotta confirm.
Okay.
All right. I need you to confirm your you still have your Chase bank account?
Talk about your bank.
Your income tax refund went in last year?
You're not muted.
You're not
You
muted.
want me to like look up like what date it came in?
No. Just it's the same account.
Oh, dear God.
Guys.
Chuck.
Okay, all right, okay, some sad news to start, and I ask when I'm done for a moment of silence. For those of you who don't know,
I have some dessert. Thank you
please
very much.
mute your computers. Please. There you go. For those of you who don't know, the village lost a very good friend. I lost personally a very dear friend. Mike Berner, our volunteer road commissioner, passed away last weekend. So I ask if everyone keep him in your thoughts. We'll take just a moment to reflect on all the good things Mike has done for our village, and personally for what he's done for me as a friend. Thank you very much. Okay, we're going to start with a public hearing regarding Cablevision. Joe, you want to start this off?
Yes, so we have a
Cablevision people on.
I saw,
Joan is here.
I saw Joan.
Yeah.
Hi, I'm here. Samantha's here.
Hi, I'm Samantha from Altice.
Let them both in speaker. Okay.
so we have our Cablevision contract is up for renewal. And this time it won't be renewed with Cablevision, it'll be renewed with Cablevision's successor if it is renewed with Altice. And there's a number of things that we are discussing with them that we're trying to negotiate. We kind of we sort of have developed a circle of communication, which isn't helpful because I'm dealing with Samantha, but other representatives of the company are calling other people in the village. So we're probably trying to at this meeting should decide on one person in the village that will be the contact with Cablevision, and ask Cablevision just to stick with that one person so we could bring some focus to this. Samantha has been really helpful on a number of these renewals that I've worked on, and she has been really helpful with this renewal. But we still need to bring a couple things into focus. Like I said, one of the things that's up for discussion is the length of the contract. Generally, Cablevision offers a 10-year. Altice offers a 10-year renewal. On this contract, if I'm not mistaken, we're asking for a 5-year renewal. And the other thing that there's another thing that we're talking about is we wanted to ascertain exactly what the fiber optics division of Cablevision is. I think what they're saying is that they will not they'll be providing a like service to the people that have underground wiring, but it won't be fiber optic. It'll be a speed that will be comparable to fiber optic, but it won't be fiber optic. But I'll let Cablevision comment on that. The other thing that we're looking for, and we are a municipality that does broadcast our meetings.
I don't know that it started yet.
Is your camera on?
Yeah.
Well, if your camera wasn't on, I'd go over there and see what I could.
Would you please make sure you're on mute, everyone? Go ahead.
The other thing that's part of the discussion is that a contribution from Cablevision towards the cost that we have in broadcasting. So you can see that we have, the people that are here can see that we have a significant investment in our equipment that we use to broadcast. So we were hoping that, and also personnel that we are involved. So we were hoping that Cablevision would make a contribution towards that.
Oh, can you turn it off on your way over?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Salt is
Where it always is.
on the town.
Can't be plugged in. Can't be plugged in. It's working now.
So we, and that's basically it. So now we're looking for resident comments. Excuse me, are there any comments or questions from the board? That you'd like to have for the Cablevision representative?
Where did you wind up with 1 year, 5 year, whatever?
They're willing to do 5 years.
They're willing to do 5 years?
Yes.
Yeah.
Let's see.
Is that correct, Samantha? Joan?
Yes.
Okay.
Under PSC rules, we can have an agreement up to 15 years. Usually our agreements are 10 years because the renewal process starts 3 years prior to the expiration date.
I can't hear it.
What's the guarantee on the new thing that you're going to introduce?
Sorry, who is that that's speaking? I'm the court stenographer and I can't see who's. Okay,
So, yeah.
Did you get what I said? You want me to repeat it, Amy?
no, I got what you said. I'm sorry, I don't have what Mr. Tremarky said.
So what is the, for the 5 years? It's 5 years straight at, are we getting any other money or just a 5-year deal? Or
I
you're
can't
getting a-
negotiate the terms of the financials in a public hearing, but happy to follow up offline of what offer we can make on the PEG support.
That's good. Okay. All right.
Thank you.
We gotta go.
So, this is trustee Craig. Samantha, I don't have the contract in front of me, but I believe there was, and Joe alluded to this, a signing bonus. Is that on the table?
There's no
Bonus?
There's no such thing as a signing bonus. Under the terms of the current contract, what we provided was a PEG grant payable within 60 days of an order from the Public Service Commission. Possibly you're referring to that. The exact number of that, I'm happy to discuss, not in a public forum.
Okay, and the royalty?
Under federal law, we provide a 5%, up to 5% franchise fee on gross revenue of cable service, and that would remain
Gotcha.
static.
And do we see the revenue annually? Or we just get a check for 5%? We don't see what's the gross billing.
You do. Every quarter when it's remitted, there is a remittance form that breaks down what the gross revenue was and how the percentage or the total remitted is calculated.
Okay. And Samantha, we've got 3 locations?
At least
The village office,
Yes.
the constabulary, and this one.
We have 2 constabularies and.
Yes, right. So we have 3 locations that the municipality runs through: the village office on Oneck Lane. And then we've got 2 constabularies on Dune Road, where we use cable, internet, no television, but we need the internet. Are those included at no charge?
This is a cable franchise agreement, so the locations that would be on Exhibit A, which is usually the last page of the document, those would be for in-kind cable services only. So you get basic TV and a box at no charge.
Is that broadband?
No, so it's a cable, it's a TV connection.
Yeah.
Cable TV.
Yeah,
I'm sorry, I just have no idea who's talking. I can't
This is Joe.
see.
This is Joe.
Sorry, Amy.
Well, this is Joe Prokop. I'm just suggesting that I think it's only a cable TV connection, not a internet connection, unless they can correct me.
Yeah, Samantha, trustee Craig speaking. If we could swap that TV box for a modem so we could have broadband, access, that would be preferred.
So I can't speak to what we can offer in the prospective agreement, but I can tell you in the current agreement that we're operating under, section 16.2, we are providing baseline internet to Village Hall at no charge.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, and then just, we need to know where we stand on the like service.
What type of service is going in?
Yeah, the swap, for those who, I mean, this is the biggest contention for our residents is that the coaxial cable just is, 1990s technology, and our residents need fiber optic or something close to it. So I think we'd need a little more transparency around what that is.
Sure, so I can comment on that. The company has a fiber-rich system. What that means is that although the system was built, it's continuously being invested in and upgraded in all the time. What we currently have is what's called a hybrid fiber coax system, which means that all of what you would consider cable wires coming from the pole or from underground are all fiber optics. It's the same technology. It's the most updated technology to bring broadband and cable services. Once that connection reaches a customer's home, that's where it's split out into coax. And if you're familiar with how your cable boxes are set up, that's when you take, the thick black wire and you're actually screwing it into the back of your cable box to receive the signal.
Right.
So fiber-rich network, and it's constantly being maintained and upgraded. If there's customers or residents with service issues or service concerns, I'll provide my email address, and I'm more than happy to send those to my team to do proactive outreach on any issues people are experiencing.
Customers have the availability of fiber already, right? To get.
I'm sorry.
That is correct. There are portions of the village mostly served by aerial plant that have a strict fiber connection. So it does not split out into coax.
Is that basically, this is trustee John F. I've worked in the utility side at Loco Keyspan Electric and Gas. So anyway, the bottom line is, well, first of all, I wanted to ask, how many customers do you have connected now in the village on cable?
That is proprietary, and if that's one of the trustees asking this question, I can follow up with you. Yes, I could follow up with you outside of the public hearing. That's confidential.
Okay. All right, fine.
All right, so I think what we should do is, this is Joe Prokop. I think what we should do is ask if there's, I'm sorry, do you want to, ask if there's any resident comments, and then, any other board comments?
So when does this commence? When does the fiber optic roll in? Or your interpretation of fiber optic?
That was trustee Tremarky.
I'm sorry.
Can you repeat the question?
So when does the fiber optic or your version of the fiber optic kick in?
It's currently in place. That's currently what's serving the residents for broadband and cable.
So has that been done for a certain amount of time? Has that been happening last year?
It's as long as we've had a cable franchise agreement with access to the right of way, we've had a fiber network serving the village.
Do we or don't we have it serving today or not?
Yes, you do.
Right, aerial customers.
And that's across the whole village? Except for
Only the ones underground.
where'd you get your goals like that?
It's the other way around. This is Joe Prokop. I think it's the only people that are getting true fiber optic service are people with above ground connections. Yeah.
Correct. The underground is getting
Underground, okay.
the HFC. It's really just a technical distinction. Both you're getting speeds up to 1 gigabit symmetrical on the fiber network. Again, if there's particular people that are customers that want to look into their account to see what type of service they are receiving, more than happy to look into that. But again, this is for this contract that I'm speaking of that we're here to renew is for the cable franchise agreement to provide cable service to the village.
So this is trustee John F. again. So by tariff, is everybody in our village getting the level of cable service that you guys can offer, or is it bifurcated? Because I would imagine it comes in the underground portion, which was the area most. And it's in the area that was washed out at one time, and that had electric underground utilities and such restored in there by LIPA at that time. And imagine along in the same area, it was cable that went in the trench, so to speak, at that time. I don't remember, but I imagine that's what it is. So
Yes, when it was breached, cable was there to rebuild and went in the trench too.
Right, okay, that's what I thought. So with that being said, it seems like aside from the actual lines that are overhead that may have restrictions at the overhead portion, it seems like everybody shy of something needing to be done on the overhead side would be subject to getting fiber. Correct?
I don't think they replaced the wires overhead.
I'm sorry?
I don't believe they replaced the overhead wire.
Yeah, okay, that's why I'm asking that, because I can't believe the underground portion wouldn't have been set up for cable, you know what I mean? At that time, because everything was new.
I don't know if fiber was put in it, but you're talking quite a long time ago.
Yes.
You're talking quite a long time ago, and I'm not certain that fiber was put through at that time.
It was
I don't know.
it was 1995.
Right.
That was put in. I don't believe fiber optics was put in. No.
What year was it again, Gary? It was when
1995 was it replaced the cable.
1995. Right. Okay. Yeah. All right. So then I don't believe fiber went through at that time. But we did go in the trenches. We were there when the area was breached, and we absolutely were there, and we went through with our wires, which is why you get cable service, right?
Right.
I don't believe there's anybody in the village that cannot get cable service.
I think everybody gets cable service, but the question is, many people are complaining about the cable and internet viability. You have a question, Stanley?
Yeah, I have a question. Stanley Vickers, just a resident. During the summer, they were laying cable along Dune Road.
Fiber.
And when I asked them what they were doing, and they said they're bringing fiber optic into the community. So is this the same fiber optic that you're talking about?
Yes.
Okay, yes.
We're constantly maintaining and upgrading the network, so they were working over the summer.
They weren't doing anything to connect anybody yet. I don't think they've connected anybody. I think all they did was run the cable.
Well, they wouldn't have connected anyone until a customer would call up and request a different version of the service, so to speak. I can track down numbers. That's helpful.
And I just have one other question to you. Like for instance, in my home, I have the original Samsung boxes and there's Altice. And I understand there are a lot of problems with the Altice boxes. Is there any plan to replace the Samsung with Altice everywhere?
I think you can bring them in.
So we have a couple of different options for the cable service to how to receive it. We have Stream boxes, we have Altice One boxes. You can definitely go to the closest retail location and ask them to look at the boxes you have and swap them out. Again, if you want me to provide my email address, I can have them research what you have and make a recommendation.
But if a resident wants to maintain and keep his old Samsung box, he's allowed to at this time, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Yes.
Thank you.
Do you, this is trustee John F. again. Do you, I know we did on the electric and gas side. Do you keep track of electric, or in this case, it would be cable interruptions and restorative actions you need to take to get the service back?
Yes, we have obligations under the New York Public Service Commission that when we meet a certain threshold for video outages, that we report those numbers to the state.
Okay.
I believe they're reported regularly to the.
I'm sorry,
PSC.
who is that? Oh, I see.
Oh,
Thank you.
Joan Gilroy. Whether it's annual, quarterly, that's all set up by the PSC, that's automatic and required. That we
No,
have.
I
what
worked
those-
in that part of the business, I worked there for several years. So I'm very familiar with the the electric and gas reliability report, so I couldn't believe it wouldn't be the same.
Yeah,
with
it's-
We
communication.
have reporting obligations. We're regulated on
Right.
the cable service, and when we meet a certain threshold for an outage, we're required to report,
Mhm.
and we
Okay.
comply with that.
And I
Absolutely.
would imagine when you compile those statistics, you have, let's say an outage rate, well, in this case, I wouldn't say per mile because we've only got a small village. But,
Right.
and there would be various programs that would be funded by Altice to mitigate those preventable interruptions, I would assume.
Sure, the constant.
We are consistently
Mhm.
upgrading and maintaining the system, so any outages that seem out of the norm that aren't related to storms or issues with commercial power, the village should contact me so we can investigate that further.
Okay.
We have two side comments. One from the Greens, they're at 852 Dune Road. We have underground fiber optic cable and it's very good. That's their comment. And then we have one from another resident, Jim Cashin. I don't understand why much of this is secretive and proprietary. Well, yeah, maybe you can address that, Samantha.
It's a competitive business, and information such as revenue and subcounts are subject to confidentiality.
Right.
But I
Okay, are
believe,
there any?
Mayor, you should be getting, when you get your, I guess you're paid either quarterly or 2 times a year.
Annually,
When you get your franchise fee check,
yes.
generally there's a statement attached. And on it, there's probably information there that you're looking for. It's going to give you a breakdown of you get 5%. It's going to give you a revenue number. And
Right.
years ago, I can't guarantee today, but years ago, we used to include the number of subs on that.
That's still on the remittance
It
form.
was still on the form, the number of subs. So if you're looking for information as to numbers like that come in, that's going to you as mayor. We're just not going to discuss it in public how many subs we have.
Right.
So you already have that information in the file.
Yeah, Jeff Farkas is asking, can you please provide your contact info into the chat so we can contact you with service issues?
Sure, I would prefer if all of that is done through the village, that it's either coming from the village clerk or village administrator.
All right, you give us the number, we'll publish it on our website.
Yeah, that works.
I-
You're gonna go on direct.
No, they want to go through me. They want the residents to go through me. I will contact Samantha.
Okay.
Why?
Why?
Can I ask you this is trustee John F. again. I also worked in the service business during my career there. And, did you provide like an annual reliability report? I know we did in the electric and gas side of the business. But do you guys compile like an annual reliability report per village or in this case, it's not a circuit, it's a section or an area, a village.
Sure. So under New York State regulation from the Public Service Commission, we comply with all reporting requirements, one of which is to file an annual report on system performance, and that captures a geographic region. And the PSC reviews those reports.
Okay.
This sounds like that. Jeff Marcus has a question. Also, is 1 gig the highest service level? And does it matter if you have fiber optic or regular cable to achieve that?
So on the fiber network, we currently have up to 8 gigs.
And what about on the cable? on this old
It's
stuff.
terminology wise, cable refers to the television service and the broadband is the internet service.
Then I can answer that. All right. All right, any questions from anyone else in the village, please raise your hand and we'll give you entrance.
Could I, in the interim, could I ask another question? This is trustee, John F. again. When you, we're coming into the summer 24 season, and some of the complaints that the residents had was that they didn't have a very good experience with, let's say, getting reconnected in for the next season.
Yes.
What is your or in this Altis's policy on reconnects and when you bring customers back into the cable loop, so to speak, in the summer season, in the early summer?
Right, so I know we do have a program within our internal systems to flag customers that are seasonal. In terms of a negative experience, that's feedback I can take back to the customer contact center and leadership team, that people that are restarting their service after they've gone on a pause are not finding it to be seamless.
Yeah, well, sometimes this is trustee Tremarky, and sometimes you have to wait 2 or 3 days to get the service back up. So is there a time limit that should be given, so the residents know they have to call?
Yeah, I would put a notice out to residents that normally under PSC regulations, I think we have up to 3 days to roll a truck to hook somebody up for a request for service. It might even be 5 days. I just have to fact check the reg.
So we should communicate that to the rest of the residents that, so they don't get surprised.
Sure, they should definitely call at least a week before they're expecting to be on site to use the service.
This is trustee John F. again. Generally, when we don't have gas. The other problem on the electric, I mean, most, if not everybody, keeps it on, and it's on, energized to the weatherhead at people's houses. If they want to disconnect on their side, that's their business. So that's not an issue on the electric side. But in the cable side, the bills can, if you're not using it, the costs can be, there and more significant than just having minimal electric used. So is there, do you have like, let's say, like an annual reconnect time or procedure where customers should call in to certain numbers to get them on the list so that they can get reconnected? No, I'm visioning like a truck ultimately going down our village to basically do simple reconnects in most cases. So anyway, that's how we handle it.
What do you mean by reconnect? I mean, you're talking about up again?
The winter.
Switch over to the, I know what you mean. Yeah, you're right. So it could be all electronic.
It's all electronic.
I was just gonna say.
She doesn't know who's talking.
I know she doesn't.
And multiple people are talking at the same time, so I can't take it down. I'm sorry.
Okay, thank you.
That's okay.
Cablevision did have, and I think this is the kind of program you're talking about. Again, I can't guarantee if it's in effect right now. Maybe Samantha can let us know, we can find out. We used to do a seasonal program where it actually was cheaper for the customer and the way it was set up to continue to have the service and not disconnect and connect, because that's where the fees came in. When you disconnected at the end of the season, you reconnected. So for a very minimal amount, we would allow we did not disconnect that facility, that location. And then you were able to start up again. I don't know, trustee, if that's what you were talking about, something like that, that wasn't in effect many years ago.
Yeah, many years ago.
It may still be, we can check to see if that's still in effect of what that happens, but that's how it works.
It makes it good. This is trustee John F. again. It just makes it a lot simpler for both the utility provider and the customer to not expend a lot of time on reconnect when it could
Yeah,
be.
now that was definitely put in effect many years ago.
Oh, I know. No, I know.
Yeah.
All right, we have a series of statements on the side, not very really questions. One is the major issue is getting someone on the phone when there's a problem. Clearly, people would like to get a direct contact with Altice, and I certainly don't think it's fair to put my clerk in the shoes unless you're willing to pay her. But the fact is, I think we need a direct contact of sorts because many people have claimed the phones are just unmanageable. There's another one that says there is a seasonal plan that may allow people to get get a hold onto their box for about $25 a month. Seasonally, you turn your box off, where you get minimal service, and at the beginning of the season, you call them up and get it back on. Is that still in effect? Somebody wants to know. Is there still a seasonal rate?
Yes.
Samantha?
I can find out and follow up with you.
Okay.
To my knowledge, there is a seasonal pause, but I'd like to confirm that before I'm on the record.
All right, please do. Somebody else said.
Logging.
Oh, someone is logging into my internet account. The max is 1 gig.
Okay, so they're probably on the HFC network with speeds up to 1 gig. That sounds accurate.
Samantha, explain HFC. HFC, did you say? Just tell them what
So
that.
this is what I was explaining when we first started the public hearing, that HFC stands for hybrid fiber coax. You have fiber optics running from the pole to your home or underground to your home. And once the wire comes to your premise, it is split into coax cable. That's the thick black cable. Fiber optic just refers to the data being transmitted through light, through a tube with the little wires, which then gets transmitted to an RF signal, which is through the coax radio frequency.
Thank you.
And Jim Cashin says, sure, you could say just call us, sounds great. Wish it were true or that easy that you could reach them. I think that the tenor of the community is that they have a great deal of difficulty reaching somebody when trouble happens. Is there any way we can improve that or get a number that is more responsive?
So we are investing in our customer service, and there have been changes at the leadership level. We had a new CEO begin with the company about 18 months ago. I will share our different resources for customer service and communication. We have a live outage map that you can log into to check for service disruptions. We have a chat feature that you can speak with customer service through your cell phone or computer. And we also have our phone number to customer care.
Okay, get us that information. That'll be important.
Trustee Markey, do these things come out, do you show them like on your bill and all these things, so the residents know what to do?
Yes.
That is correct. Every bill that's received should have a section that says notes or bill message that has the customer service channels on.
Someone's asking, what are the characteristics you need at your home to receive 100% fiber optic? It's what's in the street.
Can you repeat the first part of the question?
What are home characteristics do you need to receive 100% fiber optic? It has to be in a
home address.
The home have to be geared or wired differently in order to get fiber optic service.
That's a case-by-case basis. I will say that generally, if the home is fed by aerial plant, meaning that there's utility poles that have wires that connect to your house, you most likely, not confirmed, but you most likely have access to the fiber service. If you are underground, you will be receiving the HFC service. The biggest difference of the HFC and the fiber is the speeds. Fiber right now is up to 8 gigs. HFC is up to 1 gig.
Samantha, can you get us a map of what homes in the area could receive fiber optic and which homes are on the HFC or whatever it's called? I think it'd be very simple since half of the village has light poles and half of the village is underground utility. See if you can. I think that'd be helpful.
I'll make the request. I'll
Thank you.
follow.
And just to add, you're not the only village in that situation.
Straight down the hall.
For instance, we've been working very closely, town of Brookhaven. There are parts of the town of Brookhaven that still gets the fiber, not the fiber, the underground fiber that has to be built and constructed and put in. If you aerial, and most of Brookhaven, the town of Brookhaven is aerial, huge percentage is aerial.
And
You'll
I
get the-
do want to know, happy to answer questions about the broadband service and the distinction between the fiber optic and the HFC network, but this public hearing and this document is for the cable franchise, our right-of-way agreement to provide the cable service. So I just want to put that back on the record.
Okay.
You,
So that they know,
this is-
it's not, I
this
didn't
is-
want anybody the customers to think that we're just not servicing,
Right, it's not specific to this
Right.
village.
it's our upgrade, it's the company's upgrade in the internet fiber side of the business. There's no one in the village that cannot get cable service. And that's what this contract is all about. That 100% of the customers have access to cable service. The other is just a different portion of the company that we're providing, as we do some phone service and we provide internet service, different product. For instance, we can't even put within this contract, the trustees can't come and say, we want every customer, every resident rather, to be able to get internet service. That would be out of the four corners of the document, because the document is required by the FCC PSC, and that we have to be able to provide the cable service. The other part of the other part of our company, which the internet and the phone part of the company are not regulated by the PSC under this contract. So that's why it may sound confusing as to why can you do this and you can't do this, etc. Those are the reasons. So this what this contract can do is what I just.
This is trustee John F. again, going hand in hand with the mayor's comment about a map. You probably have a 5 or 10-year plan of what you're going to do in various villages on Long Island. And ultimately to be implemented into a construction timeline where you're going to be adding options, so to speak, over a period of years. So that's why what Gary, the mayor, asked for is very valuable. And when you match that in with a 5 or a 10-year plan, we will have a good understanding of where our village is going to be during that time. And I think it's helpful for everybody because some of the questions of what isn't there could be more easily addressed because it's not part of the first, because it's not going to happen all at once. I mean, we had that on the electric and gas side too. I mean, we didn't do everything all at once. We couldn't afford to do it, nor do we have the resources. So I totally understand. I understand that.
Thank
All
you.
right. I don't see any other questions from residents.
I just see one, we made an appointment to install fiber optics and we're told there was no box installed to receive the fiber optics. Customer services was clueless.
I think
Just a statement.
It's more a statement than a question.
Yeah. Okay, I think we're done.
All right, I think,
So I have a question to address to Mr. Prokop.
Just one second. The woman that just spoke, was a trustee or a customer?
I'm the clerk.
no,
She's the lady that you've been calling.
Yeah.
When I was trying to have a conversation with your company, she's the lady you were calling, I believe.
I have a question or
This
a
is Joe
statement.
Prokop that said that.
I was just reading a statement that a resident wrote.
So, Mr. Prokop, we've had an exhaustive public hearing. I heard from the residents. I asked her other questions. I would respectfully ask if there could be a recommendation that we close the public hearing and we can continue to negotiate and finalize the terms with
I agree.
myself.
I
and
think
the-
that, I think that, excuse me, this Joe broke up. So I think that, given the fact that we're still waiting for information, it's up to the board, but my recommendation would be to keep it open. One of the things which I was gonna recommend to the board is that, if you don't want to put it on your bills or your website, that's up to you, but I think that the residents, it seems to be a common request that we put a number in the franchise agreement that is a number that somebody can call and get a live person when they have a distressful situation that they need help with. And we would put it in I'm asking that it be put in the franchise agreement. So it doesn't end up on, it's a number that, it's not gonna be confidential, obviously, but it's a number that, we'll use for our residents.
That's been a general tenor of all the residents' conversations.
We can follow up regarding making amendments to the contract, directly, not through the public hearing. But I would ask again if we can close the public hearing and we can work through finalizing the terms of the agreement.
There's no motion on the floor to close it, I'm sorry.
So this is really our first month of the public hearing, so my recommendation would be that we leave it up. I don't mean to be disrespectful to you, Samantha.
I understand. I have to
by
ask.
my disagreement, but if we could just keep it open one more month, that would be my recommendation.
There's no motion. Nobody's making a motion.
Oh.
So it's open. Thank you very much, guys. We appreciate it. We'll get back to you.
Can we have then a date that we're gonna get a call back to discuss this, Mr. Prokop?
We can give them a date. We'll give you a date by next week, by the end of the week.
Thank
We'll
you.
call you by Friday.
That sounds great. Thank you.
Thank you for your time. Thank you, Joan.
Thank you, Samantha.
Thanks. Take care.
The problem,
Turn them off.
well,
No, they're up now. Oh, Joan's still on.
Well, this is a public meeting. We can't have any
no.
private conversation, so.
no, I just want to ask, we still have a stenographer. We still want Cablevision people there?
Yes, it's a public meeting. Yeah.
So moving on, the next thing on the agenda is a public hearing on a proposed local law of 2023, this was proposed in 2023, it's now a local law of 2024. There was a request by the board to come up with a law that increases the number of stories that would be permitted in a residential structure from 2 stories to 3 stories. In drafting that law at the request of the board, I researched the definition of story and other definitions which affect that. And there's actually a few, not a large number, but I think there's 3 other definitions that need to be changed in our code. What has happened is, to a large extent, because of our dealings with the Department of State, the Department of State has been one step ahead of the situation and amended some of these definitions that we're dealing with. One is how a story is defined. Another thing is a story above grade. And another definition is a basement. The definition of a basement has been changed in the state code. So I want to say to everybody, including the public, the board and the public, that that's watching, that this will not be acted on tonight. These definitions were just updated with the work of the trustee of the board and my office, and we're so that reason it's just up for discussion, and it will go on the website, and we'll continue the discussion in a public hearing next month. But if anybody has any questions, we could open it up now, or the board.
Yeah, one of the things I want to mention is it does not change the outside dimensions of the home at all. The homes won't be any taller, they won't be any shorter. They'll be exactly the same as they've been throughout the village. What this does is allow the internal structure to house 3 stories as opposed to 2. the two-story dimension, the two-story limitation in our village was really basically a flaw in our village that we needed to remedy. And I think this does a good job. Harvey, you worked on this?
Yes, I did.
And you feel
I think it's,
comfortably
I
addressed?
think it basically defines how all of the homes are constructed currently in the village.
So you want to put a three-story building in, with the 3 floors.
Right.
Let's say that
Yeah.
3 floors.
I'm sorry, speaking,
Was
I'm
once-
sorry.
Trustee Demarchi,
So which was once just 2 stories. So you couldn't have a high ceiling. The ceiling would have to be lower on each floor to get a third.
Well, no, we have
story.
a maximum buildable height of 32 feet above either the girder or the structural girder or the first floor, and a maximum elevation of 50 on the ocean and 48 on the bay, and that none of that has ever changed. So however you can squeeze 32 feet into the maximum elevation is basically what you're allowed to do. We really haven't changed anything. We just defined it.
So was that the intent of the original?
yes,
No. Or was that the intent of the original, when the village first made these codes? Was that the intent?
Well,
To be able to have 3 floors in an area that really was only supposed to be maybe 2. So Harvey is just saying he got the same amount, he got an additional floor with the same amount of height that was in the 2-story.
Well, you always had,
You always had-
you always had
But
the
Can't just say who's
ability,
talking.
it's Harvey guessing again. You always had the ability to build the 1-story greater than 2 with the
mezzanine.
with the mezzanine. And if you
And the
read the way the
definition of a
code
mezzanine?
was written and the way I always interpreted it, and the way Herb Hoffman basically is the
most
one that,
architects.
yeah, and most architect, was that once you exceeded the 1/3, it was counted as a story. It didn't say 3. That's the way our code was always written.
When the word mezzanine comes in,
Mhm.
how big is the mezzanine?
1/3 of the area below.
So the 3rd floor now, the new.
The
third
additional floor, the additional
Would
floor.
be the additional floor, would be a mezzanine.
Yep.
That's 1/3 of the footprint of the building.
No, the new floor would be a whole new floor.
You mean on the way it's currently written?
Correct.
Right, it's 1/3, and anything greater would be considered a story. If you read the code, that's exactly how it's written,
So, this is Joe,
as it exists now.
this is Joe Prokop. So I think what, the background of this is that, the original, when the village first adopted its code, and the number of years that 20 years or so that we operated under that code, it was 2 stories. And plus you could do a mezzanine, and the state did not consider a mezzanine to be a story. But a mezzanine, during that time period, a mezzanine was something that was not more than 1/3 of the perimeter of the house, below at the 2nd floor. So whatever the perimeter,
Second floor.
whatever the perimeter of the
Preceding
house,
floor. It could be the first floor to make a mezzanine.
whatever floor was below the mezzanine, I'm just using 2nd floor, whatever floor was below the mezzanine could not exceed the 1/3 of the area of the
2nd floor.
perimeter of that floor below it. What has happened now is
Almost.
what?
I said almost because
Yes.
yeah, this is Harvey guessing again, because there's always a misunderstanding about what the floor is below the mezzanine.
Yeah.
Okay, whether it's the greater floor, which would be the first floor, or the 2nd floor, which is tucked underneath the mezzanine.
Right.
So you're saying it's not clear?
Well,
was never
in the
clear.
prior code, it wasn't clear. So what they
Right.
did was, I think after dealing with our village where where it was tested on this, the state was tested on this, what the state did was they changed the definition of a
Right.
mezzanine because they wanted to limit this thing called the mezzanine. And now a mezzanine can't be more than 1/3 of the space below it, right? Not the perimeter of the house, but the space below it. So it has to open up into a room. It could be a bedroom, it could be a living room, a family room, whatever it is. It has to open up into a room, but it can't exceed more than 1/3 of the area of that room that it opens up to. Not Has nothing to do with the perimeter of the house, but it's that room. So we're also changing the law also proposes to change the definition of a mezzanine. So now what's currently what somebody would be able to do with our code is 2 floors, 2 stories, plus a small mezzanine, 1/3 of the area below it. What this proposal would be, and not, I'm just the legal advisor, which explaining this, what this law would do is it would give that extra story plus that small mezzanine. So it'd be 3 stories plus, if you could fit it in, plus that small mezzanine. Right? Did I?
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, it's 2 stories that are built.
Now it's 2 plus a mezzanine.
And now it's 3 plus a mezzanine?
No, now it's 2 plus a mezzanine, and the proposal is to make it 3 plus a mezzanine. But it would have to, as trustee.
And well, no, he almost said it correctly, okay, because you have to remember, you're still squeezed into 32 feet. And you have to have 8-foot ceilings.
Right. Basically, what we've done.
You're never gonna have a 3rd floor and a mezzanine. It doesn't fit.
Basically, what we've done is we've complied with what the state code is. We have now made our code compliant with what is currently.
What the change of the code was.
The change of the state code, which all of the architects and engineers that design homes usually look at and design homes. We've done nothing different. We've just made it more compliant and more convenient to what the actual regulations are. There's no trickery. There's no magic. The houses are the same height. Floors have to be 8 feet apart. They're just now being built in coordination with the state code, period. Simple.
You want to get a different hospital?
Pardon?
Hi, this is Catherine Wolfson. I'm a resident. I just was wondering if Harvey could please, or Joe could please speak to questions I keep getting asked or discussions that are being had is there is a height difference now in the homes from the beginning of the build. There are taller homes now than there used to be. And I understand, I know why it is, but I would appreciate it if the board could speak to the difference because the new structures that are going up are substantially taller than the ones that were existing since I've been here in 97. If somebody could speak to that for the benefit of all the residents, I would appreciate that.
In 2009, the state and federal government republished the flood maps. They rezoned the village at different floodage elevations. So where the first story starts are higher in some
2 feet higher.
And plus 2 feet with the state. So some areas went as high as what was 12 and 13 in the olden days became 14 feet with FEMA with on the firm map plus 2 feet for the state, which made it 16 feet. In some areas, it's as high as 19 feet, I believe.
21.
Or 21.
Yeah.
So that's one of the reasons that the some houses look higher, but the dimensions of the house are the same. But I believe
the first floors are actually starting out higher. That's what's making them look.
So they wanted to raise the floor, to raise the building
floodplain.
to avoid the floodplain.
Right.
So it's 30, to clarify, this is Joe Prokop, so it's 32 plus 21 is what happened. Now it's 21 plus 30.
In certain areas. Some areas are as low as 14 and 15.
Is that right? I'm asking.
Yes.
The village is all over the place.
Okay.
The village.
I think the lowest is 12.
There's a 12 section where
Right.
the AE zone on the
Right.
ocean. So they can look higher and lower, but they're still the same dimensions.
And they're still under the 50 and 48.
Oh, they are.
So some
Yeah, all of them are
really
still under
higher
the
because
50
of
and
the
48.
floodplain,
Right.
Right, they are higher because of the floodplain.
Because of the flood maps.
Right, but they don't exceed the maximum.
The maximum
That always
of the
goes.
ocean.
Floodplain.
No,
Of
maximum
the village
ocean.
code. The village code is maximum ocean 50, maximum bay 48. Elevation 48, not
So,
feet.
Right.
Right.
So no house, regardless of where they start,
None of that changed.
can be higher than 50 on the ocean or 48 on the bay. But the difference is that some houses were built early on where they were only starting at 14.
Right, I'm one of them.
Right. So that's why they are.
So you're getting a break
Very
now
tricky.
because of the floodplain. I mean, it's good for the home
It's
and
good
to
for
keep you out of the
everything.
water.
Right.
Personally, I think it's a negative because now you're
She
walking.
doesn't know who's talking.
Hi, this is Harvey Gesson again. I personally think it's a negative because you're walking, you're elevating additional footage to get to the first floor. You're walking
You're walking up
higher.
more steps.
That's what happened.
That's a pretty good trade-off.
Well, yeah.
Well, yeah, except you need an elevator
Unless
when you
need
get
an
up
elevator.
to our age.
You can solve the problem.
Yeah,
You can
right.
solve the problem
Right.
Yes,
with an elevator.
yes,
Sure, deal with it.
right.
Okay.
Okay.
Any other questions?
There are questions.
Okay, all right.
Eileen wrote, shouldn't law include maximum height from ground up?
They do.
Well, it's maximum from.
This is Harvey
From
guessing.
the, Harvey guessing it, it's maximum from either the girder or the first
Right.
floor.
Which can change. Depending on
Elevation.
You don't,
Right.
This is Robin talking. Robin Laveman asked, how does this impact the investigation lawsuit with Department of State?
I don't know of any lawsuit that's currently in action, and the Department of State has not investigated this issue one bit.
well, they've crossed it, right? They've commented on it.
They,
No?
not that I'm aware of.
Not on this issue, but they've commented on a lot of things, and unfortunately, have found out they don't have a good claim. It has
Gary,
no- yes.
it's Robin Laveman. It's my understanding from prior meetings that Department of State was investigating two issues. One was the propane tank and one was the whole issue of the third floor. And that from prior meetings for all the years we're here, that's my understanding, that those were the two issues that you guys were addressing with the Department of State.
That's correct.
So
So
this
that's
is
why
Joe,
I'm
this is
asking, how
Joe,
does this?
But now that has nothing to do with the elevation issue.
No.
Okay, so this
Got
is Joe, this
whole
is Joe
law.
Prokop. This is Joe Prokop. We don't have any litigation with the Department of State. The Department of State is reviewing our records and asking us questions, and we're cooperating with them. We've been doing that for a number of years. I'm going to answer the story question more directly, but there's been, to our good fortune and the good fortune of the public, there's been a change in the personnel at the Department of State. The person now has agreed. We've made a request almost daily for 2 years to meet with them to go over these questions, because they would send a 25-page letter. We would send a 35-page response. They would send a 45-page response. And then we went on, we're up to almost 100 pages. And the new person, it definitely hasn't invited a person meeting that we're trying to accommodate. We have records available for that meeting, which we will show, work with them on. And we just want to try to get a handle on exactly what it is, how we can cooperate to a resolution. Which it seems that the new person now wants to do. With respect to this particular law, the New York State concern is not 3 stories. The New York State concern is 4 stories, because a 3-story house is still a residential they're both residential structures. However, a 4-story house is under a different code. So what the New York State was concerned about was whether houses in the village were not 2 stories or 3 stories, but whether some houses in the village were 4 stories rather than 3 stories. So a 3-story house in the village is not a concern of New York State. It is a concern that they had of a number of houses that they claim are, without going inside the houses. They've claimed that a number of the houses are 4-story houses. It's 3 versus 4, not 2 versus 3.
Thank you. I appreciate that, but and that was my understanding. But I also believe that discussions were held that the interpretation, since our houses are on pilings, and they were deeming that the ground level was floor 1, and that's my understanding from hearing this through meetings through the years. So that's why I was questioning, how does this new law that you're proposing impact the investigation by the Department of State? Well, obviously this is moving forward. We can't regulate retroactively. So my concern is, number one, are they still pursuing the thought that a first floor is ground level, not what is the first floor of my home, which is on top of pilings. And then above that, for example, my home, I have 3 stories above the pilings. It all depends on what you, or 2 stories in a mezzanine, whatever you want to call it. But, and that's why I'm wondering whether the passage of this new statute or codifying it a little differently will be enough to satisfy the investigation by the Department of State.
Okay, so so what's happening is having nothing to, excuse me, the old law that many of our houses, if not most of the houses, were constructed under, the technical designation of the lower area depended to some extent on the use of that area and whether the floor on the ground, whether that area was finished, right? The surface of that area. So it had to do with those things. There were variables that determine whether the lower level, the ground level, was counted as a story or a floor. What happened is when Sandy happened, having nothing to do with our village, all across the state, including and not limited to Fire Island, Long Beach, the lower Hudson, everywhere at Atlantic Beach, the state was determined that it wanted to change its regulations as to the lower level, again having nothing to do with our village, and it did make changes which made it more likely that areas under your house, if you were constructing now, would be considered a story. We spent a lot of time we spent a lot of time providing information to the technical information to the village, to the state, about the permit issuance date of almost every single house in the village, when the plans were submitted, when the plans were approved, when the permit was issued, when the C of O was issued. We provided all of that information to the state for the questions that the houses that they had a question about. And it's not every house in the village. It's a small fraction actually of the houses in the village that we're talking about. And the former person would not take the time to digest that technical information, where we are hopeful that the current person will, because that's critical information, when a house was built, upgraded, etc. But that's the crux of it. The change that came after Sandy that had nothing to do with the village and everything that I just said.
I had a very good conversation at the last NICOM meeting, which I think is resulting with a more cordial meeting with the state at the end of this month. Joe and I and Harvey are going to drive up to Albany and meet with the DOS director, Robert Rodriguez, a very nice guy. When we sat down and spoke at NICOM, which of course provides us a lot of entree, when they see that I'm now the senior member of that board. When I started, I was the kid some 30 years ago. Now I'm a senior member. Everybody else is younger than me or retired. And when they see, something like that, or when I met with Robert Rodriguez, we spoke several times through the course of the weekend, and he's invited us up. I think that'll be very, very fruitful. And I think I look forward to a very productive conversation rather than an obstructive one. So we should have a lot more information for you next couple of months. Right, Joe?
Yes, we're looking forward to it. So that meeting. So are there any other questions? I'm sorry.
Yes, I have a question, please. It's Mary Jane O'Connell at 927.
Sure.
I'd like to know what the usage allowed for the up to 21-foot elevation that is possible now for the up to the first floor. What is the usage permitted for that? Or can you put bedrooms there? Can you put garages there?
Absolutely not. Anything under the house in the piled area, these breakaway walls cannot be habitable, but can be used as a garage area or storage.
Parking or storage.
Parking or garage area. Garage or storage.
Mm-hmm.
Is that good? Yes. Mary Jane?
Yes, yes. Is that in some way monitored, how that usage is implemented? Because that was also the regulation, I believe, when the houses were first reestablished after the washout in
Well,
nineteen
to an
ninety-four.
extent, yes, but the maps were different, where there were some AE zones where they would permit. Actually, there's still some AE zones on the ocean. If you're in a V zone, it can only be used for storage.
Mhm. So I'm sorry, could you just clarify that? The AE zone, what would that permit?
Some
Versus
AE
the
zones
V zone?
permit habitable use. You could heat it and air condition it.
So that
Right,
would
yeah,
actually make it another floor then, that 21 feet, up to 21
Well,
feet,
no,
plus
no,
the
in
50
AE
above it.
in an AE zone, it would not be 21 feet, it'd be more 11, 10.
Right.
Okay,
Yeah.
but it does, all right, but it does make it essentially another floor if it is habitable space.
It would make it one of the 3 floors.
So
Yeah, but
then,
is it a habitable space?
If it's in an AE zone.
It's in the AE zone.
Much of the mainland of West Hampton are in habitable zones where those areas would be considered a story. And then you would have 2 above that if you want. But it would
So
still be considered.
I'm sorry, I'm just confused here because you were saying that up to that the ground level up to the first floor can extend anywhere from 11 feet up to 21 feet, depending on where you are, what zone you're in. But then above that, 50 feet is permissible for the
Not
2
not
or
in
3 stories. So does that constitute is that 50 feet plus that, is that a habitable, you're saying that can constitutes a floor in an AE zone? Is
Yes,
that
but there's no AE zones.
in
There
the
are no
village?
AE zones no, there are some, but none of them exceed the level. Anything over 15, 14 feet is a V zone. So they would all have 3 stories on the platform and up. But in the AE zone, they could start at ground level. And
Yeah, this is Harvey guessing it. It's not 21 plus 50.
No.
It's 50 over sea level.
Right.
Okay. So then the 50 starts at sea level.
At sea level.
Right, at sea level, 0 and GVD.
Mhm. Okay,
So that limited down.
all right,
Okay.
thank you.
Sure.
Mhm.
Anybody else? I think.
The new homes being built now have 2 bedrooms and 2 baths on the mezzanine.
I believe they can.
I wasn't listening.
Can new homes being built have 2 bedrooms and baths on the mezzanine?
No,
I
mezzanine
never
has to be
thought
open.
about that. I don't think so.
No, mezzanine has to be open.
Just the wall. I mean,
It has to be open to below.
Yeah, open to
Yeah,
below,
that,
but you
yeah,
can't
right.
have
No,
bathroom
can't
there.
have it, right.
Yeah.
I guess you could sleep up there, but you can't put a wall up.
No, you can't close
Right.
it up from the floor below it. So it's a loft.
Right.
You could have a bathroom with a door.
Yeah.
But, I really don't think there are going to be many mezzanines because people have the option of building a 3rd floor. I don't think there's the mezzanine. The mezzanine doesn't give them any benefit. They still have to sprinkle it, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's domestic water. It's nothing.
No, they still have to sprinkle it.
Yeah, but it's nothing. It's a pipe. It's like running another.
You'd be surprised what's nothing to some people. We hear, well, all right, put a sprinkler in. You kidding me? It's not. Believe me.
It's
It's your option. It's exactly what it should be. It's your option.
Wait, what? $18,000.
Today it's $18,000.
Yeah.
Can I have some of those jobs?
Yeah.
Okay. Let's go on to any more questions. What was it?
So it's not a mezzanine, it's a 3rd floor.
If it has a wall, it's a 3rd floor. If it's open to the floor above, it's a mezzanine.
Below.
Right.
Below.
The floor below. Sorry.
So it's my recommendation, you move to adjourn this public hearing to the next month.
Okay. Norton?
I'll make a motion.
Mark
Harvey.
gets some motions. Second, Gary DeMarchi, all in favor? None opposed. Okay, we got through that
Okay,
one.
moving on to number 3.
Here comes some fun.
I have a hard stop at 9 o'clock, 9 o'clock tomorrow.
Yeah, right.
This local law is to amend and create a second village erosion control district. We adopted a local law in 2021 that established a chapter of our code 65A for a new erosion control district. For some reason, our communication with general code, it did not make it into our published code. So what I'm suggesting is that we want to add properties to that district. So what I'm suggesting is that we re-adopt that. It doesn't say this in the note in the agenda, but the proposal is actually to create a chapter of our code, which was 276A. The current village erosion control district is 276. This would be 276A, and it would be a second erosion control district close by the existing one. You want to say anything, Trustee Craig?
I have nothing to say.
Okay.
Any questions?
No.
Okay, so then I think that we should have a motion to close the public hearing.
I might have a question. Is
This is Stanley Vickers.
Stanley Vickers? Michael, is this the one that you were proposing to do farther down from the village?
Yeah, this village improvement district will be separated by at least one home that is not and will not be part of either one, the first or the second.
It will not be part of either one.
Correct.
Okay, well,
Not going to be contiguous.
No.
When it was originally formed, there were 4 properties in between. Now there'll be less.
there'll be less. So
Unfortunately, they work the best when they are contiguous.
Who's speaking?
Right.
But I don't know if you can get the people to,
Gary Chamarki's talking.
I'm sorry. They work the best when they are contiguous, without a doubt. And if you can get the other people to fill in the gap between us, it would be
Yeah.
great. But I don't know whether they're gonna do
Trustee
that.
Craig. So yeah, we are working diligently to continue to add. So the first iteration of vid 2 had 3 properties. We're adding 2 additional in this iteration, and then we're working on 2 additional to the east. And then we're hoping to add more to connect vid 1 and vid 2, but it's a work in progress.
That would be good. It will be good because they work the best
Mhm.
when they're contiguous.
Yeah.
Without
Yeah.
doubt,
Correct.
without a doubt.
Yeah, I agree.
Well, wouldn't it be easier to just have?
Stanley Vickers.
Mr. Vickers, wouldn't it be easier to just hold off until we get approval of our vid? So then we can like modify it and add you to it. And if you have a vote of all the homeowners and you have an election like we did the last time to create the vid, if you have a majority that would allow it to go forward, that one person that'd be holding you all up would be immediately included into the vid. And that wouldn't hinder the development of the entire project. We had a meeting today with our engineers, okay, who definitely said, we had an hour and a half meeting. It was actually a 2-hour meeting with them, which we've never had in the past with our previous representation, that it would behoove the district to be a larger district and offer other people to do it. So all I'm saying is, if you could hold off a little bit and let us get through, then we can have an election to add you to our vid.
Well, you can still add to your vid if vid 2 wants to be a part of vid 1, it would be up to a vote for that.
Well,
to occur.
you need people, you need people to fill in the gap.
Yeah, but
you're talking
like
about,
that, you're saying
you got 2 or
joining-
3 people
You
looking at
need
this
to say
thing.
who you are.
Sorry, this is Trustee Craig. I hear what you're saying, but joining vid 2 to vid 1 would be a simple vote. By creating 2 does not change the dynamic of adding it 1 and 2 together later on.
I'm not sure of that, because if you have 2 vids with one in between, how are you gonna have an election? How are you gonna have an election to have the vid 2 come into vid 1? If you have you only have a single homeowner that's blocking it.
You would want to keep the same,
Tremarky.
oh, I'm sorry, Gary Tremonti. You would want to keep the same process, the same, what we're doing in bid one. Yeah, in bid one for the whole point. You don't want to do it for, less or do something that's not appropriate.
Excuse me, there's questions on the board. The bid is what they call a village improvement district, whereby a group of residents band together and create a project that will be totally funded by those individuals involved in the bid. So if it's 12 homes in one section, whatever we offer the ability for them to work through our municipal rating to get the bond value rate and interest rate through our bonding, but they are responsible for the payment and will be assessed through their tax bill. It has no impact whatsoever on people outside of the bid.
Right.
No one outside of the bid it will not cost any money. All the legal expense, the material expense of the creation, the engineering, that's all within the people who are incorporated in the village improvement district and brought into their tax bill. I hope that clears up.
This discussion really, I mean, whether 2 joins 1 or 1 joins 2, I know they can work it out, but
Yeah.
Well,
there's a group of people. This is
make-
Joe Prokop. There's a group of, excuse me, there's a group, just let me finish, I'm sorry. There's a group of people that want to form a village improvement district, and they feel it's important to their property.
Right.
And that's basically what this allows them at least to get to that stage. And then after that, they can talk about who's going to join who or how.
So you're talking
Gary
about bid
Tremarky.
one, Joe, and Gary Tremarky. You're talking about bid one.
No, I'm talking about bid 2. There's a group of people that would like to form Joe Prokop another village improvement district.
Well, to put a finer point on it, there is a vid 2. There are 2 property owners that would like to join that vid. So the vid's been created. This vote or this discussion is to add property owners to that vid.
Correct.
With the possibility that there will be more to come
That would
later.
eventually reach bid 1. Would it become coterminous with?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, you gotta catch up. Well, you got.
There's one that's not in it, the one that's in between.
Well, we right now, there's, I think, maybe 6, 7, or 6.
6, 7, 4, all the way up to.
Yeah, I think so. You got 6. If you wanted to join us,
You'd have to get 6, 7, 2.
right?
Which you say is not interested in being involved.
Correct.
Okay, so once you have I'm sorry, this is Mr. Vickers. Once you have your vid, I'm not sure, Joe, if you can, then they can elect, can they have an election then to come into vid and then force 6, 7, 2 to come into the vid?
This is Joe Prokop. So the election that you're talking about really is a project election, not a vid election. It would be a joint project, not a joint vid. They can,
Correct.
so, and I just want to point out to everybody respectfully that this story about there's one person in between and is going to join, that's like the oldest story in the village. We had one person who was going to sign, for like 10 years, right? I mean, he was going to sign and just held everything up. And
He fought us.
Yeah.
Well, but we ended up getting what we wanted. I mean, only because he sold the house.
No, he sold the house.
Sold out. But we were ready to take him on taxes, right?
Yeah.
Well, Trustee Craig, so when you go down that route, you introduce litigation risk and delay risk. And I don't think anyone within the original vid or second vid want to introduce a delay or litigation.
No, no.
The process that's before the board tonight has nothing to do with potential joining or potential bidding or potential putting the project in place.
Well, this is Gary Tremarky, and I think it does. I think that the closer you can get to us closing those gaps are very important. Are very, very important.
Yeah, but
I would agree.
I mean, we gotta try it. We gotta try to do it.
Okay, but hear me out, Trustee Craig. We are making the second vid larger and we're getting closer to vid 1 by taking this step.
Right.
That is
Okay.
becoming closer.
Well, that's good news.
That's all this is about.
Correct.
Right. So as they get closer, you should continue that conversation. But for now, we're talking about adding 2 homes that fit number 2.
Yeah, or three properties soon to be.
Right, okay.
So, are there any, Joe Prokop, are there any comments from the public?
Any other comments?
I still have a comment,
Okay.
Mr. Vickers, okay? What I'm asking is, if that one holdout, if the two vids decide to merge, can we force that one to become part of the vid?
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
You sure?
yeah, that's what we did with the prior one.
No, Gans was in the
It's just-
middle. He just refused to give
Well,
us
they'll
an
be in the middle.
easement.
They'll be in the middle.
He just refused, right, so
He
you,
refused to give us an easement.
Right, well, in the
He was in
middle.
the vid.
this is Joe Prokop, so that the person
But he
could be
joined the
included,
bid.
the property owner could be included in the bid. If the board wanted to do that, it's just that, but then you'd have to worry every year whether they paid or not, and,
Well,
because that was the issue.
well,
This is Gary Tremarky, and Michael, have you spoken to any engineers or people that, to discuss like possibly ever doing like 2 or 3 houses?
2 or 3,
Yeah, I mean, that's what you got on the table today.
7.
You have 7.
We're 7.
listen, I
After
think this
tonight, we're
conversation is
7.
going long.
Possibly
We
9.
have a long night ahead of us.
Yeah.
So what the proposal is to allow you.
We'll keep talking.
Yeah, let's allow, the proposal here is to allow bid number 2 to make an additional 2 homes. Is that correct?
3 addresses.
3 addresses, what are your
Yeah.
addresses?
666-668-670.
And it goes to where? What's
660 and 656 and 658 are actually looking hard at it.
considering?
So they may
So
join.
you're from basically 666
Yeah,
west.
it's possible we could end up, trustee Craig, possibly we could end up from 656B behind the constabulary all the way to 670.
That's more than 7.
So 9, if the 2, if after tonight, we can get the next 2
Okay.
heading east.
So it's gonna be 6 properties right now? Is that, are you talking about doing 6 properties?
There are 3 currently in vid 2, and tonight we're adding 666, 668, 670.
So when you talk about that number, what did you say, 7?
6 or 7.
So 6 or 7?
Yep.
But that's all going east.
Yes.
Well,
So,
it depends where you stand.
yeah, I mean, it's not totally relevant, but yeah, east of your
East of
project.
your project.
Correct. Yep.
So what's gonna be left in the gap, 5 or 6?
One.
One.
So why don't you, can I make, well then, Michael,
Right.
why not? This is Mr. Vickers again. Why not have an election so you'd have enough votes to add the bid to the bid and then add them already?
But that's also
That's-
on this.
That's
What we're talking about
right.
tonight is him.
No,
having-
because if you have too many in the bid, then you won't have enough to have the election. You need enough to vote to include them, even if they don't want to be in the
He's
bid.
right.
Vid 2 right now is being created separately,
No, I understand.
right? So there's no discussion at all to merge 2 with 1. Period, hard stop. There's no discussion to do that.
No, I
I hear
understand.
your suggestion,
What, Steve?
but that's not what's on the table.
I'm not sure why we're discussing 1 blocking
Right,
2.
yeah, right.
Why don't you join them? I don't understand what this group of homeowners just would like to, respectfully, sir. This group of homeowners would like to modify their existing bid.
We're only trying to make the projects work better.
You could do that.
And the
after
whole idea is continuous. Once you lose the continuous part of it, you're not having as good a luck. You're gonna have a gap.
What's
Not
being
the greatest
proposed,
thing in
what's
the
in front of the board now is a proposal to allow.
Listen, we all know that this is good.
Right.
It's all good.
Yes.
This is good stuff that we have going on.
That's right.
We just have to convince, and this is Gary Tremarky, we have to convince, or hope to convince everybody to, get on board.
We're working on it,
I hear you.
but this
Okay,
is
I'm
a
good.
step.
I'm good.
Go ahead.
Go from,
Mr. Vickers, okay, Michael, you currently have 2, correct? You
3.
want to add how many more?
We have 3.
3.
3 exist.
And you,
The vid 2 exists, trustee Craig.
bid 2,
Vid 2 exists currently.
correct.
we're adding 3 properties,
Correct,
6,
right?
and then we're looking at possibly adding 2 on the eastern end, 8.
Okay,
And that would leave 1 homeowner who has been resistant in communicating with you or us.
correct.
So at some point in the future, we can discuss foreclosure and joining if that comes to pass.
But this is Mr. Vickers again, but you don't have to do that, Michael. You can have the election, because if you vote to have an election of all those to be in the vid, then they would automatically be part of the vid. If you don't want to do it, it's fine. But I'm just telling you, that's the logical way to do it. And like that, we'd be contiguous.
I don't have the approval of the other homeowners in the vid to even have that discussion at this point. I will bring it up, but it's for a future time.
Yeah, but if you've already created the bid with more people, you're not gonna have enough to have the election to include 672.
What don't you understand?
Why can't you have an election if the bid is bigger?
Because like when we created our bid, we had 12 homes, we voted on it, and that's how we created the Village Improvement District. Okay?
Yeah.
The way Michael is talking about doing it is doing his 3, adding more, and
Yeah, he
adding.
has
But if
3.
he can create and just delay a little bit and get everybody on board and then have an election for that bid, you can include the holdout.
Trustee
And
Craig,
it's not gonna slow you down.
okay, we're talking past each other. We both understand that we can join if that's what vid 1 and 2 want to do somewhere in the future. But there's going to be some risks that I've already outlined of litigation and delay by forcing someone into a project that they don't want. And I don't think you or I have the ability to hold up either of our projects for additional litigation or delay. So let's move forward. We're moving on a track.
I think
to make these bids bigger. Let's keep moving on that. track,
Let's keep
and we
talking
can
about it.
Also,
We don't need to vote on it today. Let's
yes,
just
we
keep-
do.
It's
We're gonna vote on it today.
You guys should abstain from this vote, both of you.
Yeah, I planned on it.
You need to. So I need a motion from.
So
Chris to
trustee
abstain.
Craig and trustee Tremarky will abstain from the vote.
Thank you.
So the first thing is we need a motion to close the public hearing.
Need a motion to close the public hearing.
I'll make a motion that Harvey gets them to close.
Harvey Gessen makes the motion. John F. seconds it. All in favor?
Aye.
None opposed.
So the next resolution, if you wanted to move ahead, is a resolution regarding secra. For purposes of secra, you would be adopting lead agency status,
Right.
determining that a vote on this local law is an unlisted action for purposes of secra, which will not have it's my recommendation you determine will not have a significant negative impact on the environment, and that therefore you're adopting a negative declaration.
Motion.
I'll make the
John,
motion.
second by Harvey.
Yes.
All in favor?
Aye.
The next resolution is a resolution adopting local law of 2024. It's a local law creating chapter 176A of the West Hampton Dunes Village Code. This 176A reflects the 2021 Village Improvement District and adds 3 homes to it, as we discussed.
Motion.
I'll make a motion.
Second, John F. First by Harvey Gessen. All in favor?
Aye.
None opposed. Okay. We have a public hearing on the proposed law of 2024, the local law number so-and-so of 2024, authorizing the village to exceed 2% cap if necessary. Well, according to our tentative budget, which is not approved yet, we're below the cap, significantly below. So I think we should pass this with the intent of not going over.
Basically for belts and suspenders.
Right, belts and suspenders. Guys, any of you guys want to make a motion? You're entitled to this one.
Yeah.
Mike Craig motions, seconded.
I'll second it. Harvey
Harvey
Gessen.
Gessen. All in favor?
Aye.
None opposed. Okay. That one easily. So we're almost a third of the way through the agenda. And we have a public meeting on the hearing on the application for subdivision 738 Dune LLC and 742 to merge 2 lots and subdivide merged parcels into 3 lots, resubmitting the original application. Now, it is my understanding that the zoning board made a decision on this. Am I correct?
The zoning board on November
Is this on
18th,
now?
the zoning board of, I'm sorry, Joe Prokop, the zoning board of appeals on November 18th voted to approve voted to approve the lot width variances for 3 of the 3 proposed lots, and also side yard and combined side yard setback variances for each of the 3 lots. The vote was conditioned on 2 things. One was the submission and approval of a written decision, and also a correct subdivision plan, site plan. And so far there hasn't been, there's a written decision that they've reviewed. They're prepared to adopt it, but has not been adopted yet. And we still have the subdivision plan from June 8th of 2023, which doesn't reflect what was approved.
It doesn't reflect what was voted on.
Yeah.
Right? But all the dimensions are are in that decision. Is that correct?
Not really, because it doesn't show the variances are in that decision. Excuse me, there's no decision. The variances are in the transcript and the public notice that was done, but it doesn't, the layout of the homes with those side yards are not reflected in the site plan.
But the side yards are detailed.
Well, not which is which. There's, in other words, there's a minimum. Yeah, there's a minimum side yard variance that was granted, but it's not laid out in the site plan that's before the last site plan that we have, which is June 8th of 2023.
Is anyone here?
Also, I want to point out that the site plan that's before that board and also before this board does not show the location. There's an existing dwelling on the property that's somewhere near or on the boundary between two of the lots. It's either A and B or B and C.
Right.
And it's not reflected on the site plan. The existing house has never been shown on the site plan. So there's a concern that if you were to vote on this either now or after the written decision from the zoning board, that you would be granting a subdivision which has an existing dwelling that's non-conform, either actually on a lot line or is non-conforming as far as setbacks.
Like could easily be handled. We could just, as a term of our planning decision, that the house would have to be removed or donated.
Removed, yeah, yes.
Or removed under any circumstances. But the fact is, our building code wouldn't permit that house to stay there. So the building inspector would have no right to even issue a building permit. So there's no reason to be concerned about that. Okay, John. I know. What are your?
It is late. Good evening.
This is Jim Hume.
Jim Hume.
We're starting, Jim. It's not late for us.
For the applicant, James N. Hume, 323 Mill Road, West Hampton Beach. Also, the applicant, Alex Antonacci, is here as well. As you know, this process started with you with a different plan. I want to be clear that we have now returned to the plan that was before the zoning board when the zoning board adopted the variances that were granted. We fully intend to comply with, assuming we get this ultimately approved, we fully intend to comply with the variances and the dimensional setbacks as approved by the zoning board. And to the extent that there's a differential between that and what may be on the map, I think the differential is maybe a foot or two at most. It's not our intention to have you approve this map with these dimensions. It's our intention to have you approve this map with the dimensions that were approved by the zoning board.
To comply with
the zoning board. And if what it takes is for us to make those minor changes to the map, we're happy to do that. The issue of the house is something that trustee Craig had raised with the other plan, and that's very adequately addressed. The procedure for its removal should be adequately addressed. It is adequately addressed in the transcript of the meeting from November 18th, and hopefully will be addressed in the written decision when we do see that, and that is that it needs to be offered for donation prior to removal. But
It was in the transcript.
yes.
Yeah. So Jim, I just have, first of all, my first comment is, I think everyone here is happy.
Trustee Craig.
Trustee Craig, yeah, we're happy that the applicant's gone back to 3 equally divided,
Yes.
very conforming with the rest of the village.
Yeah, well, in that regard, we listened to everything everybody has said, and we took that feedback seriously, and that brought us back to the plan that we ultimately had worked out with the zoning board, which are very rectilinear lots, very organized lots with very defined locations for the improvements that are proposed.
So I guess my comment would be, because there's been a lot of iterations going back and forth on both this plan and the other plan, the survey that I have in front of me and the one that you gave our clerk most recently is dated June 8th,
correct,
2023, but the decision, and I've read it exhaustively, was November of 23.
November 18th.
And and I've read that thing back and forward and backwards, up and down, very clear. It seems like you want to adopt it. Most of the things appear in line, like the side yard setbacks, the front yard setbacks. But when I look at parcel A, you've got building envelope of 14,435 feet, which is in excess of 30% of square footage.
Yes.
So that's not going to be approved.
Well,
what was approved?
What we agreed in the zoning board was that the house would be no bigger than 3,200 square feet. And that's what it says within that box. And the purpose of the box is not to show the ultimate size of the house. It's to show the location on the property where that 3,200 square footprint house can be located.
Right. No, I guess my question is around accessory building envelope of 6,664 feet. So just speaking on parcel A, 20% would be the 7,770.8, which you call reduced principal building envelope. But then you've got an additional accessory building envelope of 6,600.
The transcript should have reflected that we abandoned that.
You abandoned that,
Yeah.
but the survey didn't. That's why I'm bringing it up.
Correct.
Right, so that would definitely be abandoned.
Yes.
Okay, so there's no.
What we agreed to in the zoning board decision is what we agreed to.
Okay. And then, so I guess I'm just saying that this survey is not the latest survey that reflects this November decision.
Well, this was the survey that was in front of the board.
Okay.
On November 18th.
So we'll get into
and that's why we submitted it here, because we didn't want to add confusion to the whole circumstance by showing up with a different map than the map that was in front of that board when the board made that decision.
Okay. That's good.
But if the only issue is, well, we're here today to find out if there are any other issues, but if we submit a map that reflects those items.
Yeah. That's where I was going.
Okay.
Is for me to get comfortable with, if we were going to bring this to conclusion, trustee Craig, sorry, that a new map, this would be subject to a new map that shows everything in the November decision by the zoning board.
Okay. We can do that.
If we made that a condition, I would be comfortable.
Okay.
Personally, unless someone else brought up something I haven't thought of. So,
There are some questions online. You want to read them? Start at the top.
Sorry. This is Robin, the clerk. Are the current plans discussed what is posted on the village website? It is on the website, the current map. Yes.
Who has to?
And it's dated,
Dated June.
yeah, it's on the website. It
Mhm.
says survey from March 8th when I received it. That was from
This is
Robin.
Robin, this is Robin, who asked the question there, because I printed it out and I'm confused. I thought we was talking about that they were going back to something else. There's a color survey with
The
meets and
color
bounds that
survey
has
is
flag
no
lots.
longer the color survey.
Okay, that's why I'm asking, because that's what's on your website. So
There's also March 8th, the other survey. It says survey dated March 8th. From when I received it. That is the plan they're talking about.
It was the
there's
plan
one-
submitted
there's-
before this one.
There's a survey
right.
that's posted that's dated on the bottom right, November 17th. That's what's on the website.
No, that's not,
No.
this is Joe Prokop. That's a mistake, another mistake that was made in a communication from the applicant. The applicant sent us a letter saying that they wanted us to consider tonight a survey that was last updated November 17th, 2022. That was a mistake by the applicants in the letter that they sent. I don't want to speak for them, but I think what the village, what we understand is what they meant to say was June 8th of 2023. There is no application, there is no survey that was last updated on November 21, 2022. That's is like a job date or something.
Well,
That's
there
the date of the
was
original
one
survey.
that was on the website last week because I printed it off. It's dated November 17, 2022. But I do see that you now have something dated March, which shows three exactly pretty much the same lots.
That's
That's
it.
That's the current review survey.
Because I think there's a lot of confusion going on in the community based upon what I'm seeing the questions asked, because it just doesn't, there's too many things that have been floating around, including this color one, which shows flag lots and things of that nature.
That's off the table completely.
Okay, so I guess my other final question though is, don't you need to have the zoning board's decision, which is just a proposed decision? It hasn't been signed, it hasn't been formally agreed to before the planning board can do anything?
So here's my advice on that. So what's happened is the zoning board has not, there was enormous confusion with this application since its initial submission because of inconsistencies between the application and the plan. At the most recent application from the owners was submitted on November 6th of 2023 with 6 new variances that were requested. That was voted on November 18th by the ZBA, as I said, subject to a correct plan being submitted and also subject to a written decision being done. The ZBA was told several times since November 18th of 2023 not to go ahead with adopting a decision, most recently in February of 2024. So that decision was never done. One other thing that's happened is the Zoning Board of Appeals submitted a letter to the board, to the village that I think they want on the record, requesting that they be able to issue a written decision before this board issues its final decision. So what I think would help tonight, to a constructive move tonight, if I could please advise us, is that we do two things. The first is that the alternative application with the the lines all over the colors, whatever that is, I call it the alternate. Should be either formally withdrawn by Jim on the record, or you should vote to deny it, because there's a timeline with regard to that.
My letter indicated that I wanted to withdraw it, but if we needed for this
I think you said revert.
I
You want to
I took that to mean that I was withdrawing the other one, but if you need me to verbally indicate that I'm withdrawing that request, then it's done.
Okay.
That was Jim Hume for the record.
Okay, so the second thing is.
One is gone. Okay.
So this, we're in exactly the situation with Skaderna because we're trying to recreate, what happened 20 years ago. We shouldn't be in that position 20 years from now or next year. What my recommendation would be is that if you want to have a consensus vote by the board and then let the ZBA issue its decision, it's going to meet in 2 or 3 weeks. It'll issue the decision. Hopefully, the applicant can get the site plan put together, and then this board will issue its formal decision after that. I think is the way to handle that. So if you verbalize a consensus tonight, I think would be great. Great. Let the zoning board. I don't want to repeat myself, but
meet subject to.
Yeah, not a formal vote, but just make sure there's a consensus that you will approve it once the zoning board does its decision. And
This decision.
Yeah,
they've made a decision. So
I mean, a written decision which matches a plan.
Right.
Okay, because what happens is the plan has to get signed by Gary as the chairman of the planning board if this is approved, and then it goes right to Suffolk County, the health department, and then Suffolk County. So all this has to be straight. It can't be.
Yeah, what I believe has to happen is the decision that was in the transcript of the last zoning meeting needs to match the site plan and the survey.
Understood.
And once that's done.
But if we could get a consensus as Mr. Prokop has suggested tonight, that would be put us at ease.
But there's some conversation from the floor. Why would you want to read who it is and what they say? Someone forgetting.
Lauren Nan is saying, we need a meeting in West Hampton Dunes where we live, and accessibility to be present is important for the residents to see all the proposals. We have not had an in-person meeting.
There are no all proposals. There is
There's
one proposal.
Right.
And it's the proposal that she attended multiple zoning board hearings to review.
They voted on.
And they voted on, so.
So Joe Prokop, so the zoning board meeting that I'm referring to will be in West Hampton Dunes. And the next trustees meeting will also be in West Hampton Dunes.
That's correct.
All of these off-season, off-site meetings are very detrimental to the residents and being left out of the loop. We do feel we are being rushed here. We also feel that the trustees, Lauren, the trustees planning board postpone any vote until the ZB issues a written decision on this application. The pending final ZB decision will accurately describe the requirements as previously agreed to by the ZB.
Gary, this is Eric Soretsky. Is it possible to have the zoning board letter read? We spent a lot of time on this, and Joe Prokop was involved. I think it speaks to exactly what we're talking about, but I don't want to make the assumption that everything was.
Why don't you read it to us? Why don't you read it into the record?
Okay, it says, "Dear Mayor Viglianti, Planning Board and Board of Trustees, the circulated agenda for the upcoming trustees meeting includes an application relative to 738, 742 properties as an item for discussion. The West Hampton Dunes Zoning Board of Appeals requests that the second staggered application for the 738, 742 Dune Road is submitted to the planning board be formally rejected and closed for reasons that counsel, Joe Prokop, can further explain if anyone needs it. If the applicant or the Board of Trustees wish to revert to the original application, we request that time be given to the ZBA and their counsel, Joe Prokop, to issue an accurate written decision. The final written version of the decision has not yet been issued by the ZBA because the applicant on more than one occasion directed the ZBA to stop our work on the original application. Is that clear? Okay.
Yes.
Okay. In other words, the reason we're not done with it is because they asked us to stop on multiple occasions. The ZBA cautions the trustees that the site plan from the original application that is before the Board of Trustees does not indicate the setbacks that were applied for or approved by the ZBA and does not indicate the presence or location of the dwelling that is currently existing on the property, approximately on or near the boundary of the proposed lots A and B. A proper site plan was required and should be provided by the applicant to avoid any discrepancies or future confusion on this application. With regard to the original decision, the following are the variances that were applied for and voted on on the November 18th meeting. I won't read through the variances because Joe already talked to them for lots A, B, and C. On the ZBA issues as a written decision, the matter can probably be before the Planning Board of Trustees for a vote on the original subdivision. Please understand that this process took almost 2 years of work by the ZBA. In addition, the application for this property has the close attention of the residents. The ZBA wants to ensure that the final decision is accurate and appropriate. There are several requirements that have been agreed upon with respect to this application as follows. No further subdivision for any of the 3 lots. The 4/10ths rule. I won't read the whole piece, but we know what that is. The southern face, the principal structures and accessory structures shall be located at least 70 feet from the north side of Dune Road. Mechanical equipment shall not be located on various sides. Septic systems shall be as per our original comments. No variance is granted for, and it talks about the bunny hutch. I won't read that piece. No accessory structures, of course, as per the code. The owners shall dedicate a 32,000 square foot non-disturbance area, not unlike the Scaderna site. Construction during Memorial Day to Labor. Anyway, I don't know if I have to read each one of these items. You guys have the letter, okay? And I appreciate that everybody's listening to me read it, but I don't want it to be, like that you guys have to feel pressed to approve this today when Joe Prokop has made it abundantly clear to all of us on the board that this needs to be perfect, not almost or close or whatever. And the reason why it's taken so long is not from the lack of effort by the neighbors or the zoning board. So
nobody's making an accusation on this board, Eric. I want you to know.
No one's suggesting that there is, but again, I've heard rumblings to the contrary. So that being the case, again, on behalf of the zoning board, I'm telling you that we, as per our advice from counsel, Joe Prokop, recommend that we be given the time to prepare a proper written decision so that then you guys can vote on it.
Okay, appreciate that. I think that's all we said. I think we're in agreement.
That's why it's a long meeting.
That's why it's been a long meeting.
We're going all right.
Just be assured that whatever is in that zoning, in the minutes of that zoning decision will be applied in the actual written decision. I think that we're all in agreement with that, are we not?
Attorney Hume here, yes, and I appreciate and thank Chairman Soretsky and the entire zoning board. It was a hard.
It was a difficult time,
and we finally, we certainly realize and appreciate the effort and the position that the board is in relative to having to make this decision. And our only intent is to have the site plan comply with what the zoning board has approved. And if that letter is now in the record, I would appreciate receiving a copy of it because that would make it the easiest way rather than trying to parse the transcript again, so pages. That's a very concise summary of what the site plan is supposed to say, and it's our intent to submit that.
Okay, there's a request by Mr. Dunes. I don't know what address that is. If he could let me know who Mr. Dunes is, I'd appreciate it. But he's made the request twice, so apparently he believes there's something going on. Do any village officials have a financial interest in this property?
No.
Are you sure?
Absolutely.
Are you sure? Is everybody sure?
That was Jim Hume who said no.
Mr. Antonucci, you give me a piece or what?
Mr. Antonucci would like to be on one of the boards. He might,
as soon as he gets home, he's entitled to run. Mr. Dune, wherever you are. Oh, somebody else said, Priscilla Adams says, yes, we do. Yes. Priscilla, can you tell us how much we have? I'm sorry. So I'm sorry to disappoint you, but nobody on this board has a financial interest. And if they did, it would not be illegal, but they would have had to identify it and declare it. Nobody does because we really follow the law. Thank you very much. Anybody else have any more questions?
Are you saying that none of the properties discussed have any interest by anyone on the board?
I'll try to be clear. That's exactly what I said. Do you have reason to believe that's untrue, Priscilla?
I do.
You do? All right, listen. Let me know about it because I'll make sure whoever board member it is would come clean. But I'm certain.
I'd like to know also.
Yeah, I think the owner of the property would like to know that as well. I mean, please, if you have an interest in the village and you have a concern, you can always call me and I will address it. Anytime. So, Mr. Dune, Priscilla, rest assured, none of us have an interest. So what's this?
So my recommendation is that you have a motion to put this over to the next meeting for approval.
That will be in the village.
Pardon?
It will be
It says here,
in the village.
it says here April 16th, Joe's office.
Yeah, but we
Next
just
meeting.
No.
That's April.
No, this,
Is this an old?
No, they're new, but we'll move it to.
We'll move it to the village. Move it to the village.
So the motion I recommend is that the board move to adjourn this for approval at the next meeting of the board.
For a vote.
Yeah, for a vote, for a vote for approval at the next meeting, and with the serious request to the zoning board that we try to get the written decision for the
Yes.
board.
Yes, and they get the site plan done.
Yeah,
We'll get
and
the
the
site plan to you virtually.
I'm sure you will.
If I could just get a copy of the letter.
Oh, sure.
If you're setting this down for the 16th of April to come back to the trustees, will the ZBA review and approve?
When's the ZBA?
We were talking April 20th or 27th.
What, with the ZBA? So it's after our meeting?
Yeah.
We'll deal with that. Yeah, we'll deal with that.
Can we move our meeting to the same day as the CBA?
That'd be great.
I think we should.
well, I don't think we can
what's
because
the
of the
time?
budget.
We can have a budget meeting.
Oh, okay.
And we'll have a general meeting.
What's the date?
Our budget meeting will be by April 16th.
Um,
20th or the 27th.
Then we have to do that meeting then.
Well, we can have a budget meeting to approve the budget.
Well, the budget hearing, you can have a little bit later. I mean, it's not,
Okay.
the critical thing is the budget's adopted by April 30th, but you can have a budget hearing a few days late. That's not.
Oh, you can, okay, because this is April 15th, I don't know.
Yeah.
So we're
Okay.
talking about moving on, or the April meeting?
April meeting's April 20th
In the village.
Let's,
in the village.
is trustee Craig, can we leave it as the 16th contingent on the ZBA actually meeting? Because if we move it and they don't hold it on the 20th, we've moved it for no
Yeah,
reason.
that no reason, right?
Eric, you gotta get your zoning board together to meet on the 16th.
No, the 20th.
Let's
By the
leave
way,
it on the
Gab-
20th. Our meeting is 16th, and
Mayor-
they've confirmed that they're
Mayor-
gonna meet on the 20th, we'll.
Yes,
Mayor, they have to provide that document that we asked for that we still haven't gotten.
We
So-
will get it to you. It'll be.
They
So
will
let's
get
be
They
let's
will
be
get it
clear
to
about
10
the
days
ball.
in
It's in
advance.
whose court? It's in Mr. Hume's court, correct?
Absolutely is.
that's right.
And it
Okay,
will be
so-
coming right back at you.
Okay, well, we can only work with what you give us.
That's what we're here to get
So
you.
they should let us know when they've completed.
But Derek, if they get it to you in time, you're gonna have to get your board together. At least a quorum of your board on the 20th.
Gary, I appreciate that we're rushing to do this for some reason that I'm not sure, but we have been doing this for 2 years.
I
And
appreciate that.
let's be reasonable about this. Let him get the document to us, and then we'll work with Robin and Joe to have a meeting. But I mean, there are it's not from me. It's I have to get enough people from the zoning board to get together.
We start polling them now.
Okay, I mean, I'm
just said
sensing
that
that
you're giving your best.
I'm sensing that there's
Yeah.
pressure. This is the part when we were talking about pressure. This is the part where we seem to be being pressured to get this done in some fast way. We've been working on it, trying to get this done, and I'm not sure that that sentiment is being understood.
I'm sorry if that's the way you feel.
No,
We'll try to
it's
get
not the way.
done.
It's not the way I feel. It's that I've heard it from reliable sources. That I mean, again, you came to one of our meetings, and you've never come to a meeting before with us, and I was sort of surprised. But for this reason, I guess. So listen, have Mr. Kim get us the document. We'll turn it around.
Okay,
Very good.
committed,
Fine.
done. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Robin, you can send me a copy.
Yes, I will send it tomorrow.
Thank you all very much. Thank you.
Okay.
Good night.
Yeah, guys. Let's see, Priscilla has another question.
Or another accusation.
It says, Priscilla wrote, future endeavors, there's a builder on the board, an agent
Real estate agent.
agent employed in the village payroll. Will they certify they have no financial gain for the 3 properties?
I think we've addressed it more than once. They have no financial gains in the property. However, in the future, if Claire is the employee of the village, what we cannot confine the owner of the property to choose whatever realtor they like. There's no conflict whatsoever. Priscilla, I'm sorry, I don't know where you're going with that, but
Well, I have a rental sign there, but it's never gotten rented, so.
that's right. Full disclosure. That's right. Claire did have the rental ability
That's right.
on that property.
And it's never been
Never
rented.
had- But that's standard business. You know, being an employee of the village does not take away your rights. It's just the privilege of working for the village. I think your conversation is unsavory to me. We've addressed your issues clearly. If you have any other questions, you can call me in the office. I'll be happy to discuss with you.
We did.
Which question from Mr. Dillon? I thought we did.
We did.
Robin.
No, I don't think we need to respond to that person once he gives an address.
Yeah, well,
We don't know.
even though he didn't give an address. If Robin, if you're asking about financial interest, I've addressed it, I think 6 times since 9:21, and it's now 9:31. So in 10 minutes, I've addressed it 6 times. There is no financial interest by anyone on this board, anyone who's employed by the village at this time with Mr. Antonuzzi. If that's not clear enough, call me tomorrow in the office. I'll discuss it with you. Is that good?
It's the same question about the sign.
Okay, good. I think we addressed the site as well. Claire had a rental, attempt, Mr. Antonucci asked her to rent the property. She was unsuccessful. So there was no money made. That would be the financial interest. Thank you very much.
Can I ask that we get back on track and do?
That's good. I hope so, because, you know.
This point, we're gonna
This will
sleep
be 5
over.
minutes. for us.
Oh, gosh. Oh,
Gary, I have one question. I forgot to ask you, I have it down. What are the
Please identify yourself. We have the stenographer.
what are the Lauren Nanarello, 743 June Road. What are the elevations for the proposed, I don't have that written down here, for the proposed 3 homes at 738, 740.
I think the elevations will be determined by the building code. So,
So there's a chance it could be into the next raise up, correct?
I'm sorry?
If you raise if you raise it higher, like you're proposing, these could be raised up really into that next tier, correct?
I'll check what the elevations are tomorrow. In that area.
Because just keep in mind that the homes surrounding it, especially directly to the east, and I mean Skadern is actually to the west, but the houses to the east are actually built in 2000, so they're pretty much a lot lower than they're going to be proposed. That just concerns how it will look.
But the applicant did not apply for a variance for height regulation.
I know, but I just don't know what it is. So I was going to try to see if it's going to be 32 max, which you wrote down. I didn't know if it was going to be if that's still what it is.
No, they're this is Harvey guessing. They're regulated by FEMA. Whatever the FEMA code is where the lowest elevation of the first floor can be.
Okay, so I understand, but what I'm talking about is, I guess, we talked about in June, we wanted them to provide us with some sort of like a style or a sketch. You know, I mean, because the height could be, you know, if you're gonna put like a rectangular home up there, which they could do, it could be 32 plus 21, so it could be 53 feet high if you actually do the numbers. If you put a certain style house up, and we had asked as a courtesy to give us, being that we have no
13, 14,
ARB in this
15,
town, in
okay.
this village.
That's correct. We do not. That's correct.
So that's why we're concerned, and you could actually, I think, understand our concerns, because the homes that are surrounding these three properties have been there for many years. So these three new homes we don't want it to be too much of a sticking out like a sore thumb type thing. Whereas, you know, a lot of the homes going up now aren't really, you know, going with the neighborhood.
12 to 16.
But we had asked for that, and the builder had
14,
promised
sorry.
to give us some sketches, give us some ideas of what they were considering. So we sort of had an idea of what we were, you know, going to be agreeing to. Like we were trying to work with the project, because obviously it was, you know, working with the zoning board for 2 years and working with the attorney and the builder. We still have never received that. So if this thing is approved, the next meeting, it's all bets are off, basically. We really have no idea what we're looking at. Just once it's approved.
It's a very detailed, wait a minute, right? All bets are not off, Lauren. There's a 7-page detailed zoning opinion. They have confined and
22
refined
pages.
22
Right.
pages. So
I
it's
know,
not
but
all bets are off.
there's nothing about what could be built there, really, as far as like
But they didn't have to apply for that. We could
What are you
only
laughing
deal.
at? What are you laughing at? It's a valid question.
No, what I'm saying, I'm not laughing at that. What I'm saying is we can only deal with what they applied for. And we can only deal with that. We can't extend onto.
No.
We don't have an architectural review board. And personally, I don't believe we ever should, but that's a different story for a different day. But it seems to be in a V zone.
One sec. I just Harvey guessing again, whether they get their subdivision or not, there's a minimum going to be 2 houses there, and they're going to start out the same elevation no matter what.
Remember, if they go back to
It's a FEMA code.
Okay, it's a FEMA code. So, but if it's a rectangular home and you want to do this like at 773, Harvey, you built the house. I mean, look at how high it is. You can do that with a square house. I mean, if you have a more angular home, I don't feel like you have the height that we would have looking at a 773, you know, if it's a rectangular home.
Well,
And
the height of the house remains the same, and we don't have an architectural review board.
I know, but we were asking for a reasonable request that, you know, since they were getting a variance, they were going to actually try to assist us in accommodating our concerns about this issue. And they were agreeable to it. We just haven't had an in-person meeting in the past, you know, it's 9 months. It's March. Last time I saw you guys was June 2023. So, you know, it's kind of just disheartening that we're forced to do the Zooms in the off season where it's in Smithtown. It's really far from my regular home. I can't get there. So it's just, you know, we wanted to go there, and we spoke to Jim Home. We said, you know, would you be able to give us a sketch, not a footprint, a sketch? And yeah, absolutely. We can definitely put that together for you guys. And we never did get it. So, you know, that I would like to request it, that before anything's passed, that some sort of a sketch is proposed to the neighborhood for the whole dunes, not just for surrounding neighbors, but not to drive by this one spot and see 3 shoeboxes, you know, it's 3 square homes, 3 rectangular homes with no character. Whereas, you know, 25 years ago, each house was built with different characterizations. Now, I just feel like we have a chance of getting 3 homes that are exactly alike in that spot. You know, sorry for the dog.
So this matter was, hi Lauren, it's Joe Prokop.
Hey, Joe.
So this is the planning board, and this board makes decisions but basically with planning issues and concerns. We about a year ago, the ZBA referred this application back to the trustees for comments. And we actually had a public hearing, the trustees, to try to get public comments on exactly the things that you're talking about. And I don't think at that meeting, and that meeting was in West Hampton Dunes, I don't think that we got even one comment.
Yeah, right. Was that in June, Joe?
It was probably, yeah, like about that area last year. Yeah, May or June.
May or June.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was brought up there. It was brought up there. Definitely was, because I remember Jim said he would do it he would actually throw something together and give us an idea, because we voiced our concerns and the builder said, no, I'm not going to do that. We're not going to do that. We're definitely going to have some variation, some really nice homes there. We're like, great. Okay, awesome. That sounds great. But then when, you know, we never did, you know, finalize, we never saw it or finalize. So I'm asking them if they could provide that to us, you know, in the next showdown, next meeting, whatever it is, call it. The next. Is the next, and then the next meeting you said it's going to be in the dunes, correct?
Yes. Yes, it'll be in the dunes.
Oh, good. Okay, I'll be there.
Yep. All right, very good. Okay. There are any more questions? Okay, thank you very much. Now comes the easy part.
Oh, yeah.
Joe, do we want to let Amy go?
Yeah, you want to let Amy go?
Yeah, with great thanks, Amy. I'm sorry for your headache.
Oh my gosh, thank you guys.
Thank you.
Thank you, Amy.
Bye.
Bye.
Hi. Okay, we have a tentative budget. We'll just do a quick overview of it. It'll be posted once we approve the tentative budget on our website, which will probably be before the end of the week, correct?
Yep.
So what? We'll start, we'll go line by line quickly. Well, we go over the titles, I'm sorry, subtotals. We've worked very hard on maintaining as modest an increase as we can, especially in light of the up charges in insurances, the up charges in Social Security, things that we have virtually no control over, and have gone up in some cases 25 to 30%. I think we've come to a very reasonable and good budget. We'll go over the first section, which are the revenues of the budget. The revenues of the budget start with the real estate taxes and special assessment districts. This year, there's an increase in the real estate taxes, approximately $90,000, 89,181 and 81. Interest and penalties, where it's no change in rental fees, rental agreements. We elected to keep the rental agreements about the same because we're right on target. That's about $7,500 a year. Real estate and property tax sales, we've kept that the same, although I believe, Joe, we have several highly delinquent properties that amount to about $70,000 or $80,000.
Yeah.
We'd have to start a rem action, or at least sue them or get some way to
Okay, we'll take care of that.
We've left it at 40,000 when currently there's about 85, 90,000 in excess in default.
Two properties.
It's only represents 2 properties in the village, so I think they should be easy to narrow down.
2 different owners?
Yeah.
2 different.
So, Robin, could you give me the list of what they owe in the years and
I'll
stuff?
do that.
And for those concerned, Claire, myself, and all the board have no financial interest in those 2 properties that you wanted. Be clear. Departmental income, clerk fees would remain the same, zoning fees would remain the same, no change. Use of money and property, interest and earnings. We're actually increasing the interest and earnings by what, $30,000?
Yeah.
Because the year to date, although
Which was
last year.
February, it was the end of
That's
February
right.
too.
Although last year we only budgeted $10,000 because of the diligent work our clerk did and our treasurer. They've found some very responsible, triply collateralized, fully authorized by the state programs. And instead of earning us $10,000, they've earned us $45,000.
Through the end of February.
Only through the end of February. So we've increased the amount to that, a conservative $30,000, and I think it'll be no problem meeting that goal. Fines and forfeitures will remain the same.
Licenses,
What?
licenses.
All licensing? All licensing and permits. They've gone up 40 by $10,000. An increase licensing and permits by $10,000 because last year we budgeted 35,000 and so far we got 71,000. And so we've only increased it by 10,000 because I believe we're going to be conservative. Fines and forfeitures. We budgeted 12,000. We received to date 16,000 because of a large fine that was issued a resident for constructing without a permit. However, we've made no change in all of the sale of equipment in that whole detail, considering that we'll be conservative because that was one major. Our judge and lawyer did a very good job. We had a large fine. Miscellaneous source of income, property encumbrances. Let's see. We adopted a tentative budget of $10,000
That was because of a bond.
because of a bond.
Yeah, that was last year.
Last
So we don't have any thoughts about that right now, so.
Right. I don't think we don't make those still alliance on it. State revenue sharing, which has been abysmal at best. Nikon, we've been petitioning the governor for 12 years for an increase in some of the AIM funding. She's been reticent, although the Assembly and the Senate voted a raise for our villages. The mayor, the governor has not signed it. We'll be pitching her once again when we go up this late spring. I don't think we have much chance of doing that. Mortgage tax. This year we've only received half of the mortgage tax, but it's not quite what we budgeted. The year before, we were well over in mortgage tax. This last year we budgeted 70,000, and with only 2 checks in place, we've received $27,000. We have 2 more coming, but I'm concerned that we will not meet the $70,000 mark. So we reduced the anticipated income of mortgage checks by $15,000. Correct?
Yeah.
Consolidated highway tax. We
That's the
budgeted,
CHIPS money.
that's CHIPS money. We budgeted at 22. Last year we budgeted.
Well, we added the money that we.
Right. Last year we budgeted $90,000 because we had the money in the bank. But through the actions of John, our building inspector / liaison with state CHIPS money, has gotten us nearly $80,000 in beneficial equipment and payments through the CHIPS fund. For many years, we were unable to access that money because of the quagmire of detail and red tape. John cut through the red tape, got us a new truck, and fixed the patch in front of the 859, whatever that is, and got us all that payment. So we're very happy with that. All in all, we're showing a minus 83,000, which is really 68,000 less than that. We never really had that money. So the total revenues are minus $20,000 last year. In spite of that, going on to the cost of supporting government. Contractual expenditures of the legislative board was nothing. The meeting expenses we spent.
The bottom line. We'll be here all night.
We spent 200. We spent $600. We have 2,000 invested. We have 2,000 budgeted for that. There's no change. Legislative board. There's no change. The entire legislative board, 0 changes. Personal services of the village justice. There's a change of $5,400, $4,000 of which goes to the personal expense and salary of the village clerk of the court clerk. She asked for a $4,000 increase in her salary. She has not had an increase in her salary in more than several years, and is still below the cost of an average court clerk in Suffolk County. So I believe it's my recommendation that gets approved. The judge himself asked for no services, no salary increase, but did ask for a small increase in his budget so he can attend more instructional services and get more educational equipment. There's no doubt that that'll be approved. So the total increase on the personal services of the court justice is $5,400, and the village will discuss that and decide whether we award it. Okay, municipal court. Our mayor, personal services, I did,
No change.
there's no change. There's no raise indicated in that. I did not put in for a raise, and I left it unchanged. There's no changes in my entire budget. Treasurer, there's a change of personal services. There's a change of $1,096. Surplus supplies, director expenditures. For the treasurer's department, contractual expenditure of $5,000. It was a $30,000 budgeted. It's only increased. The entire increase for the treasurer's department is $14,096. There's a bit of money in this service department to possibly train a new treasurer on the possible advent of the current treasurer retiring without any financial interest in the properties. It was so lucrative to not have any financial interest. You're going to retire. Assessments remain the same. The clerk is put in for a raise. It seems substantial, but upon review, I'll discuss it with my board. I believe it's warranted and should be met.
So the entire change is
The
negative.
entire change to the clerk's services is $3,499. Less.
Than last
I'm
year's
sorry,
budget.
less than last year, even with the substantial raise. The water expenditures remain the same. The engineer expenditures remain the same. The building inspector is put in for a substantial personal raise. That is big, of course, because he's also putting in for the need of substantially more hours. He currently works 4 hours, 3 days a week. He's doubling the amount of time that he has to put in. He's also acting as the assessor and also acting as our liaison with the state, both taking up much more time, as well as
Does he have, can I just ask a quick?
Sure.
Does he have background in assessment?
tremendous. He's been very good. We'll discuss that. Unallocated insurance, unfortunately, it's not gone up. Fortunately, it's not gone up.
We're leaving it the same.
We're at least the same. General governmental support.
No, that's just a total for the public safety.
Oh, public safety, public safety budget is going up by 34,000.
No, public safety.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was on general support. I was on unallocated
Done.
insurance. I didn't give the title totals. Thank you for your service. All right. Got to tell everybody all the property here. Okay. The public safety budget has gone up by $29,073. There is a substantial reduction in the new vehicles. It's a $53,000 reduction there, but it's only $29,000. And the board met during the course of this year. Mike, you want to talk a little about the contractual changes we've made?
Yeah, so I'm very happy to report that our contract with the Constables Union was the first one we had was put in place in 2000, and we were coming up on the last year. It was a 5-year contract. It was a 7-year contract with 2 years extension because they didn't have one. So we thought it would be a good idea to revisit the contract early for 2 reasons. One, we didn't want to wait to the last minute because these things can take a long time, and they only had 1 year left. And number two, after having gone through record inflation, we realized that our guys had been very badly hurt by the increases that we had in the current contract and that they should be revisited. So after, I'd say a couple of weeks of really really good faith negotiations with the guys, Tim, Brian, Jake, and Jay, Jason, who led the discussions, and thank you to the board for allowing me to negotiate with the constables. We've come to a really fair 7-year extension or 7-year new contract that begins next year. So it'll take us through 2031.
Sure.
It closes, again, works to close the gap substantially. After doing a lot of research, looking at other departments that look like ours, we still had a substantial gap to those, and we worked very hard to close that gap. And I'd say, on the guys' part, this was all just financial. They didn't ask for any additional time off or benefits or really anything. They were just looking to kind of extend the 7-year contract and get a catch up for what we call cost of living, which is very common. So we've arrived at that. The mayor signed that agreement with Jake, the president of the union.
I think one of the most important parts is that we made our department more competitive with other departments. We're having a very difficult time filling part-time positions prior to this, and quite frankly, the caliber of the part-time positions was not meeting the caliber of our department. Since we've made these adjustments, we've already recognized and installed 2 new guys.
We have a civil service test coming for future vacancies too. This makes it more.
Brian, you want to?
Right.
Yes,
We have a
Brian.
civil service test coming up, but we don't have the stenographer anymore.
Oh,
no.
Yeah. We have a civil service test hopefully coming up this fall, and it's not to fill any open position now. It's just for future vacancies because it's a civil service job. So if the board decides at any time that you feel that you need to hire, or if anyone should retire, you'll have this list at least of qualified applicants to choose from. So
I think there's no dispute. We have the best department on the East End. We're virtually a crime-free community. Everyone's safe beyond comparison. So we're very grateful for the hard work you've done. Mike, you did a great job.
Jake and Jason couldn't be here, but obviously they extend their.
Thank you.
Well,
And we did it all for only $29,775. Part of that is because
and no attorneys.
And no attorneys. Part of that is because last year part of that is because last year we built them a brand new building and we bought them a brand new vehicle. The cost of
no attorneys
and with no attorneys, and we had stingied our budget enough to come up with the money out of our current budget. So we had no impact whatsoever
We don't have to have a bond.
on a bond. No bond. So we reduced their budget from last year, $53,000, because we had the money to accommodate those new purchases. And now we're left with less than $30,000 increase. Great job. And I'm very proud of you guys. Thank you. Yep. Okay, transportation.
No,
Main-
fire protection.
What? Oh, fire protection. I'm sorry.
Went up, went up.
Fire protection went up this year. And, as cooperative as West Hampton Beach has been with us, they hit us with a bill.
Joe's certified drug fire.
Yeah, I know. The bill's increase for this year's fire protection is $702.
That's phenomenal.
That's phenomenally cheap. They're doing us a very good job. It went from $258,690, $259,392. $702. We'll take it any day of the week. We thank them very much for their service. And by the way, we've had several major incidents. They saved every house. We had the one with the basement, with the underside on fire. Brian spotted.
826.
Brian spotted it. Brian spotted it. We called them at 826. They responded immediately. It was a terrible fire because there was a lot of ASAP in the basement, in the underground area that caught fire. It was highly toxic. I was there, and literally 100 feet away, you were choking up. You couldn't go near the site for and I was there. If they put it out, before you put it out, you couldn't go near for 300 feet without choking. I think Catherine Wilson was there. It was horrifying. But these guys jumped in. By the way, one of our residents, Santos, is a resident of the village. He's also a volunteer fireman. He got the guys there in a hurry. So we're very happy with that. Okay, maintenance of streets. There's no change in the equipment or capital outlay. There's a change in the highway, the CHIPS money, but that, it seems like a lot of money, but it's literally just a wash. The state offers it to us, goes into a bank. If we access it, we spend it. So it doesn't affect the budget. The road bond is now off the books. The $57,000 road bond.
Right.
We finished that.
The old road.
Right. And contractual supplies remain exactly the same. So the maintenance of the streets actually had gone down by $125,956. That's because the CHIPS funds and the road bond have been accommodated. Snow removal was raised again. That is substantially more than $700 and with the little amount of snow, but it's gone up to about $3,000. That adds to the total. Phone services of $122,000. $122,956.
We pay for the snow removal regardless.
That's right. It's a contractual amount.
Contract.
Yeah.
So years like 5 years ago, we did quite well because it snowed like hell. In the last 3 years, we've been getting.
I think we need to hire a consultant on global warming.
Yeah, I think we do.
See how we affect the budget.
Well, hey, we got a truck with a plow now. If you want to risk it.
They get $1,200 to plow some long driveways.
That's
So we're
right.
definitely getting a
That's
good
right.
discount.
Exactly.
Oh, yeah.
Joke up.
No.
Zoning and environmental, environmental remain the same. Zoning remain the same. Home community services are down $25,000.
Well, that was for the party.
Oh,
We
for the
had-
party.
Yeah.
Right, we budgeted for last year's party. That's no longer in the budget, so we saved 25 grand.
We just left money for the movie.
And we left money for the $3,000 for the movie. State retirement is up about $5,000. That's a guesstimate.
It's lean.
What?
It's lean, but
That's lean. It's a guesstimate, but we've been somewhat assured it's going to be around that much. The stock market's doing well, so probably the retirement fund should be all
well,
right.
they gave us an estimate.
They gave us an
They're
estimate.
never right, but
Social
last year they were
Security's
fabulous.
remaining the same. That's estimated. Workers' comp is the same. We've not had a claim, so it should remain the same. Medical and dental insurance is up $25,000. Employee benefits, bond principal. Why is the bond?
Oh, yeah, no,
it's the principal.
yeah, it's under employee.
It went up to 90 because there's two bonds there, but you have to take off the road bond of 57,000. So if you take the
Right.
total,
The total is 33 grand.
yeah, if you take the total, yeah.
It is 33,000, and that's because the other bond is paid.
Yeah.
Capital fund projects, transfer to beach assessment reserve, emergency fund will be the same as always, no change. That's about $300 a property. That in summation ends the tentative budget. My board will meet as soon as they approve it.
Right now, it looks like they're under the cap.
Yeah, going over the cap chart rate. 2020, the increase is less than 2%. And our village taxable rate is negligibly or really statistically unchanged. It's changed by 0.0004%. That's 4 thousandths of a dollar. So it's a very, very modest change. It's, as I said, statistically irrelevant.
I'll pay it.
Yeah,
I'll pay the whole
for everybody.
That's $20.
And we're under the tax limit by a pretty significant amount, we're under the tax limit by about 108 grand.
No, 108 is what we're allowed.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Right.
And we're under about, I think it's 90.
Yeah.
Yeah, 90.
Yeah.
We've been
so
pretty consistent.
We've been doing better than any other village.
every year we're tweaking it a little better. I mean, considering everything's going up so much. I mean, that's why Herb Hoffman volunteered me 30 years ago, because he likes that tweak the budget.
We've maintained this budget terrific. We spent a lot of time on it. And the fact is, as I go to NICOM meetings, as I said, as a senior member of the board, I hear all the complaints. Very few villages can maintain the 2% cap. They're all busting through it. You know, when you have insurance costs and everything's up in inflation. All right, so we approve the tentative budget.
That new building is amazing though, because if you look at the bills, it's half of what 914 is, and we're using ours every day.
Yeah.
We turn on the heat and we go to 914.
Right.
So it's really good.
I think we can vote on the tentative budget because it's tentative.
No, see, so what you do
That's
is,
what you get when you buy a
Exactly.
prefabbed house.
Yeah.
Yeah.
so it's in the
One
record.
of the side things you don't think about.
Yeah,
So it's in the record, the board should vote to accept the tentative budget from the
that's correct.
clerk.
That's what I'm
We're
saying.
going to have, I'm sorry, from the treasurer, we're going to have a hearing on the budget at the next
Right.
meeting.
What I'm going to ask the board is to vote on on a tentative budget. We can modify it, and if any of you have suggestions or needs, and we will present the final budget at the April meeting. And the tentative budget will be posted on the website if it's approved, by the end of the week, correct?
Yeah.
Okay. I have a motion to it. Motion.
No, I just want to say one thing. The code enforcement training is April 4th at Malloy for John.
He already signed up.
He signed up,
Mhm.
yes.
Oh, he's been going
But
through
that,
all
wait,
sorts of
that's
training.
nothing to do with it.
Huh?
He's been going through.
Excuse me, I'm asking for a vote on the budget.
All right, I didn't
Let's-
even know he was
Let's get
signed
through
up.
that, okay.
All right, which is good.
I have a motion, second by Gary, all in favor?
Aye.
None opposed. Yeah, John has signed up for the code enforcement.
All right, good,
Great.
good. I'm glad he did.
Yeah, that's what he's doing. He's getting certified by every agency.
Yeah, but he's not going yet. It's not till April 4th.
That's correct. He signed up to be there. That means he's going. I think you're gonna attend.
He's been ongoing to all sorts of.
Oh, no, I understand.
Okay.
This is very important.
Very important.
For the money coming into the
Yeah,
village.
yeah, and he's up on it. Very good. He's good. Constable's report, let's go.
We hired because of your increase for the part-timer
We
rate
did.
that starts effective June 1st with the new thing. We were able to hire two very highly qualified guys that we look forward to getting out there. We're training, updating old training, getting everything ready, and pretty much it. I think we'll just wait until the end of the meeting if anyone has any questions.
Any incidents that we should know about?
No, I mean, the camera equipment, we just had some upgrades done to the
It
existing
was so
equipment.
bad. Well, we had the incident where they.
Yeah, we weren't publicizing that one thing was it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's not for, but yes, that's been resolved and we've had some upgrades. They tweaked these cameras.
Right.
I mean,
Yeah.
it's insane how much better, just a little software update and the data that
I
we
think a
get.
wider angle too, they're getting
Oh,
more of the
huge.
roadway, so they're picking up more plates than they did before.
You know, as they're coming up the road.
Sometimes you get them 3 or 4 times. Yeah, it's getting multiple pictures, so it's really helpful.
Identifiable face.
Oh my God, the pictures are insane, yeah.
It's been a great success.
Great success. Thank you very much for
Could
that.
I ask a question here? It was very apparent tonight with the camera facing that way that people were confused on I mean, we heard it many times. Is there any way that we can get something where that would have some kind of a stand or something where it could be?
John, we're negotiating with Cablevision to get us a camera system. That would.
Well, I know what you're saying, but
Well, then.
we're talking about something real simple here to maybe modify what we have.
Well, we'll see if we get one of those.
All right.
Yeah.
Very good. I'm just saying it's not doing us any service.
Right, I understand.
The way it is right now.
Well, when you have it too far, it doesn't.
I know.
Do some research, find some cameras that'll follow us.
All right. I mean,
Yeah,
I'll
see what
talk
we
to
do.
Rob.
Okay, great, sure, let us know. Okay, do you have any questions?
Yeah,
No,
Gary,
Oh, yeah.
we still have a bunch of things here to go over, right?
yeah, the
So-
resolutions and.
Yeah, the resolutions.
No, even above that, the mayor's report.
Gary?
We got a
Gary?
letter from the BBPA. Hold on one second, please. We got a letter from the BBPA,
Oh, yeah.
Akron.
Well,
to-
before you get to that, Michael, we had questions going back to the past 15 minutes that nobody has looked at or answered. So can you
We do
please?
it at the end.
Can
Yeah,
we
we'll
go back?
address all the outstanding questions at the end. We just want to get through the agenda.
Well, this was about the things that you were talking about. So you're gonna have to then go backwards? Wouldn't it make
Well-
sense before you go on to the next item, to look at the things that people are asking?
I mean, are you referring to,
Well, a lot of people were asking, how come we didn't have a budget to look at and follow along? It's really hard to hear you, Gary, and
I understand that. Well, you'll have a budget. Tentative budget will be posted on the website because it's now been approved, and you'll have that there, and then we'll discuss it at the open.
But
budget
why
hearing,
couldn't
'cause
we see it as, like, you're reading it to us and it's hard to hear you?
Well,
that-
no, we can't release the budget until it's the tentative budget until it's approved.
You can release a tentative one, a proposed budget, of course you can, a proposed budget.
It wasn't
a
completed, and it wasn't.
This is all, it was what I said before, it was not excuse me, respectfully, Robin, it was not a public document. It just got submitted tonight by the treasurer. What the board did was the board voted to just record that we got it. That's all that happened tonight. Now it's a public document. We didn't see it before tonight. Only the treasurer did. She presented it tonight, and now it's a public document. It'll go on the website, and then there's going to be a full public hearing on it in about 3 weeks.
I think a lot of people are very frustrated because, Gary, I apologize, but you're very difficult to hear and understand. We couldn't understand some of the things you were saying. And so
I don't see that much, but that's okay. I'm sorry. I'm doing the best I can.
I understand. And you also said somebody's acting as an assessor. Who's that?
That's John, the building inspector.
The building inspector has assessing knowledge?
Yes.
Oh, I'd like to see his resume then. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Anything else? Is there anybody else? If we didn't read your question, you can ask it now. Please do.
All right, let's get to it. Marilyn, here's your perfect.
Marilyn. Oh, Marilyn, you hear me perfectly? Thank you, Marilyn.
Each trustee should sign in individually.
Hi, it's Catherine Wolfson again. My suggestion is trying to support the camera angle, which is very difficult to hear people talking in the background, Gary, as you know, we're only seeing you. So I think a good suggestion would be for everyone in the meeting, even if you're in the same room, if we can't have a camera system set up, can everyone not just bring their own laptop or iPad or something and individually sign in? So when you're speaking, whoever it might be, Joe or any of the trustees, the audience can see them.
Yeah, Gary, this is Jim Cashin. I'm involved with a variance board up in Vermont, and they have a system where whoever's talking, the camera automatically goes to that person. And I'll find out what system it is, but it's really.
That'd be great. That'd be great.
Really
Like, remember now, we're moving into the village, so we're gonna be going there. And I really am hopeful that Cablevision gives us some support, because they mentioned that before. But we'll see if we can get a camera that's more palatable.
That would be great.
Yeah, well, listen, nobody's trying to hide out here. Everybody's trying to get it done, but we will do what we can. You know, we're working on a limited budget, guys, but we'll get it what we can. Also, next month we'll be in the village. That would be easy for you to attend. If you can, come on out. If not, maybe we'll have the more mobile camera. All right, what do we got going?
Road flooding.
Mike.
Yeah, we can. You want to start at the top?
Yeah.
Road, and that's yours, road flooding.
Road flooding on the west end of the village mayor attorney, Jim Caston, a meeting with the county. We're hopefully get a meeting with, we have a contact there now, right, John? We've been talking
with Charlie Barkley.
With Charlie Barkley. Charlie's a longtime friend of mine. I think Jimmy knows him well. Jim Casher knows him, as well as the county exec. We have a very good rapport with Ed Remain, and he's promised to be a listening ear anyway. So I believe that we'll be getting, we have some original plans done by the Lero Group that we have to go to our archives to see if we can find them. And I'll pass them by you, Jimmy, as soon as I get them. And we can maybe present that to the county.
Thanks, Gary. Can I ask that it be kept on the agenda month to month so we can, keep track of it?
Of course, I think,
Some of my neighbors, thanks.
yep. What's it?
Talk about this annexation.
We're getting there. We just started.
Okay.
We just started at the
I
top.
just didn't know where.
No.
we were.
Erwin, you're asking how long are you retaining the LPR data? Could you clarify that question?
What's that?
It's 3 months.
3 months.
Some of the camera.
Oh, the cameras.
Yes.
Cameras,
that's-
Brian was speaking about the cameras and reading the license plates. I want to know how long that data is being
3
retained
months.
for.
3 months.
3 months.
3 months, okay.
Sure.
Is there, why did you pick 3 months? I'm just curious.
We didn't think that's what the company does.
That's what the
That's standard countywide.
Okay, so it's, because just figured that sometimes if there's an incident off season, homeowners might not be at their house for 3 months. And they might need a longer time period to know that there was a possible incident.
In
for you
this
to look
budget,
back.
starting June 1st is an enhancement to that system.
So you'll be
Starting
able-
June, in this budget that we have here, that the board has in front of them is an enhancement to that. That would extend that well beyond that,
Storage, yeah.
correct?
Oh, so what are you anticipating, Brian, approximately? How long? Like 6 months to a year now?
Months.
Yeah.
Yeah, but probably a year would be the max you could push it.
And when should that be started?
With, I'm sorry?
When
Would
the
that-
upgrades?
June, when the money's here, so it's in the budget, we
It's
should
in the
do it by
budget.
June.
June 1st.
June 1st.
3 months, we're trying to go.
Okay.
Never.
So 3 months.
Thank you.
It goes away. Yeah,
Sure.
3 months it goes
I'm
away.
very happy that you guys installed it, and I think it's a good thing to have. Thank you.
It's been great, yes.
You get it up there to a year, it'll work. It'll be much
Okay.
better.
Yeah, oh, yeah. But realistically, most people have alarms that go off. Oh,
Yeah,
Yeah, but you have the info.
yeah, right. That's it. We have the info.
100%, it was just a cost, so we'll have it in this budget.
All right, the mayor and trustee Kesson, Joe Prokop, and special counsel David Yaffe are going to attend a meeting with the New York State Department of State regarding the Uniform Code.
Yes,
We
but-
talked a little bit about that, but I'm very comfortable with Robert Rodriguez. He's a very good guy.
Can we go to that too also?
Yeah. It's a long day, but we'll come. Doing beach nourishment this fall. We're scheduled for our beach renourishment. Now, the good news, we're scheduled for the renourishment. The bad news is they surveyed our beach long before these recent storms. The beach was so large that the renourishment is now, it's not what I would consider to be the optimum. So we've written them a letter claiming that they need to reassess or resurvey the beach, and we're pursuing it. They're very resistant originally, but our contacts with the Army Corps, and my personal contacts, our friends there, they're going to come down and reassess it. But we're scheduled for this fall, getting renourished. I'm very excited about it.
Renourishments are.
We're now in FIMP. There are no more renourishments of the original agreement. However, the original agreement still has a hook for us that gets us.
Well, even without that, I mean, that's.
The beach is.
Well, the beach is good.
Yes.
I mean, and the string fencing. I mean, anybody that put that string fencing up there.
Absolutely.
The dune in front of our,
Lauren,
those
are you
4
still on?
properties that we have are
Is Lauren on?
as big as the original dune.
Lauren and
One of our residents called and they have to raise their walkway. It's completely inundated.
I lost 8 riders off
right.
of my walkover.
Please.
Fine. That's good.
Yeah.
Good.
That's what she
You
said. The
need to
steps are
know-
so low.
You can't see it.
Yes,
They're
that's it.
buried. They're buried.
They're buried. Everyone needs to know
That's the whole thing of
that sand fencing is essential to beach strength. If you need to cover the front of your property with the sand fence. The sand will then cover the fence.
It's unbelievable.
It's unbelievable, time and time again.
Unbelievable.
And I was up and down the beach just Sunday this week and assessing the beach. Everyone who put the sand fence are materially better off than the people who haven't.
I didn't think it was gonna make it through those storms, but
It made
it stood up.
Because the elevation of the beach is
I mean,
tremendous.
it got a little roughed up on the edges,
Yeah,
but other than that, it
hey,
stood up.
The old saying, less is more.
East and west of us, they were devastated. We did fine. It's amazing.
Well,
Okay,
we need more people to do it.
string fence installation.
Well, possibly.
I know, I'm gonna go back to that.
Simple in a way.
String fence installation has begun.
Not that expensive.
It's, the string fence installation has begun. If you have a special need, please get us the information. We will pitch it, but once the string fence is in place, it's much more difficult to get it out. So if you have a special needs child or person, or someone who has difficulty with mobility, please let us know and we'll do our best to get it accommodated. But that's a federal program. We have not much control over that. 914 Dune Road, of course, is part of the ongoing conversation we'd love to have with the BBPA. We'll continue to move towards that as soon as we can.
Well, I think we were talking about putting a date on the calendar today. So if there's Catherine is still on the Zoom. Catherine, are you there? Yeah.
Of course.
Yeah, so be that we are looking at an April 20th in-person meeting in the village. Do we want to have a discussion then, or is that a date?
I'd love to set a date. I want to get this done as soon as possible.
Do you mean earlier before the meeting?
Well, it sounds like we've got to wait for the ZBA meeting and then we've got to meet because our meeting should follow the ZBA. So I guess we could do it before or after. Yeah.
I think it'd be tough on that. On the
Gary,
same
you're
day?
doing the meeting on a Saturday? April 20th is a Saturday.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, in all the years, it's never been on a Saturday. Okay.
That's traditionally, that's when we.
Well,
that's always the ZBA.
Unfortunately, you're not correct. You know, the years we've
No, I'm
had.
not talking about the ZBA meeting. I'm talking about the board meeting.
Yes,
Traditionally.
Yeah.
we've had board meetings on Saturdays for quite a while.
No?
Then nobody wanted them, then we changed to
Then nobody
Fridays,
wanted
then
them.
they
We
didn't
changed
want
to Fridays.
Fridays, then we went to
But
Tuesdays.
this meeting is necessary because we gotta get the budget approved.
Right.
And we have to have the zoning board together. That's why this one's on a Saturday, but we're open to changing it to
So,
whatever is best.
Just
to be.
as far as having a discussion with the BBPA, that could be a possible date.
I think you
want to do it sooner? You want to do it later?
I think we should do it.
Sure.
I'd love to do it sooner.
Saturday? This Saturday?
I'm available.
I'm gonna have to reach out to my board. I just want to, guys, I know it's late. I know everyone's exhausted. It's been a very long meeting, but I just want to, while I appreciate, Michael, you responding so quickly to my email that I sent on the 17th from the BBPA, I just want to have it on the record for the public to hear. As I've always stated, we reached out back in November and asked for a meeting and never even got a response to our email. So we have always been willing and wanting to resolve whatever issues there might be between the village and the BBPA. And I just want the record to reflect that we've finally gotten a response and we're thrilled that we have, and we'd like to get a date on the calendar. So let's do what we can to get together. If you all want to present a few dates to us, I can speak to the board and respond, or if you have an idea right now of some, I can certainly speak to everybody tomorrow and see what we can get out there. So we can
In the
get
interest
something
of keeping
on
this
the calendar.
casual and cordial, let's do.
Let's give two possible dates, this Saturday and then Saturday, April 20th, because you've got holidays in between. So why don't we start with that? This Saturday or
Okay.
Saturday, April 20th? And you can let us know. And Catherine, I hear you on your November, but
Okay, that's right. I will
we
actually,
ran into the
my board,
holidays. And there were some other personal issues that we had to deal with, each one of us as board members. So no one was ever
No, I
suggesting that you
appreciate
were.
that. No, I appreciate that, but no, there were statements made. I have the minutes in front of me from the January and February meetings where statements were made that we are not cooperative and we're not reaching out when we didn't even get an acknowledgement of our letter being sent to you. So that I just want that to be out there. There's nothing contentious in what I'm saying. I'm just making sure that the facts represent what's actually happening. So we're happy to meet. We've always been happy to meet. We've tried to arrange something and we've been virtually ignored. So I'm happy that now we've got a response and let's get something on the table. So I will reach out to the board. It's either this Saturday or you're offering this Saturday or Saturday, April 20th. I know my board members are on the call or some of them might still be, but I will have a formal conversation with them tomorrow and we will get back. Oh, and actually April 20th is our beach cleanup. It's the beach cleanup day.
Can I just say something? You know, Michael, you indicated that the holidays will be over. Please realize that you're proposing a meeting that's 2 days before Passover. As someone who has the family and who prepares, 2 days before the holiday is a difficult date. So I just, it's
Listen,
not,
no problem.
Yeah, I'm gonna be cooking.
It's no problem. We'll change it.
you know,
We're trying to be as
the
cooperative.
Monday is the beginning of Passover. So.
I heard you. We're trying to be as cooperative as possible. We'll change
Well,
it.
that's why I'm pointing it out, only because
Thank
Michael
you.
indicated it's after the holidays, so.
No, I didn't say it was after the holidays. I said the holidays were in between the two meetings and then there's holidays after the meeting.
Right. He was referring to the November meeting.
Yeah.
That's history.
Yeah,
No,
right.
that's not what he said, but it's okay. I just want to make you aware.
Well, I can see how cordial this is going now. So I anticipate a very good meeting. I disagree with
This
quite
isn't about the
extensively with what.
BBPA meeting. I was talking
I
about your board
disagree.
meeting.
I have to, please, let me finish my sentence. I disagree with some of the things Catherine said, but listen, I don't think it'll be productive to pursue this line of conversation.
Okay, you can,
Look,
you can
you wanna
disagree all
meet?
you want. I'm reading.
Guys, do you want
We
to meet?
reached out to you in November and said, do you want to meet? And we never even got a response to an email that was sent to 9 people. That's all I'm saying. While we were
Catherine,
being,
I
while it was
reached out
being
to you
publicly
about a meeting
stated.
and I wanted to attend it, that you never once said a word and
Okay.
then prevented me from attending. So please, let's not go back. If you
We're
want to have
not
a
gonna go there.
constructive, if you, well, obviously we do, but let's not. If you want to have a
That's not what we're
constructive,
talking about. We're talking about a meeting between the
Listen,
BBPA and the village
I'm
board.
sorry. I
And
didn't
that's what
realize
we
you
would like to
dictate what we
discuss.
talked about. I'm sorry. I can see this is
Gary,
going to be a
don't
very
start
productive.
again, please. I'm really getting tired when I'm being very respectful and very calm and stating facts. I have documents in front of me with your words on them saying that we were not responding and we would not meet with you. That is not factual.
Yes, that's
We
correct.
have been.
Thank you, Catherine. Thank you. This is Audrey Miroshnikov from 692 Dune Road. I am on the board of the BBPA. I second what Catherine has said. We have reached out and we are trying to keep this cordial, Gary. Do not paint this as something that other than that. Do not do that. We have attempted many times to reach out and set a meeting. So let's try to make this happen. Let's not dance around it. We seem to do that a lot. Let's make it happen.
Okay.
I'm happy to do that. I've been trying to do that for years. Please.
No, Gary. No, Gary.
No, you have not.
That is incorrect. That is false information. Do
All right.
not
Yeah, you gotta stop. You gotta, Michael.
We've thrown out 2 dates. Please talk to your board and come back if they don't work for any reason. And we'll try and accommodate future meetings.
We'll be as accommodating as we can be.
Thank you.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Joe, I need you in here.
Summer
We
construction.
gotta talk about the summer construction. There's been a lot of interest in
what?
summer construction. There's been a lot of interest in.
He's leaving.
We gotta stay, because
You have to
we
stay.
got something else we gotta talk about. Summer construction, what we wanted to, in the early years of the village, it was very important for us to get construction done as quickly as possible. We're trying to build back our community. But now that we're more established, we have an issue whereby summer construction is very disruptive to our summer residents. So we want to think about constraining some of the hours that construction can occur during the summer, making it more restrictive, and then also making it especially more constrictive for building permits that extend their permit a second year. If you build during the first summer because you're building then and don't get it done by the next summer, you got to start making your choices to get these homes built. So what we're going to discuss in future meetings before the summer starts, creating a village matrix of what construction can be done out
Well,
exterior.
you've already taken away the pile driving. So
Only
that's
on Mondays and Fridays.
No, the pile driving is not 100%.
No, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, you can still pile drive.
And I don't think that's really an issue, but you got the guys doing siding, not fixing it, reconstructing siding.
Pile driving is what makes the noise.
Well, yeah.
Banging.
We got to give them a chance to build a house. But we'll discuss that. So I just want it known that we're aggressively looking at it. We want to have something in place by the summer so that people can be assured that they'll be as comfortable as possible. Reducing the hours during the day, maybe, reducing the hours during the day.
So
So
we knock off the weekends? Les?
yes, no, weekends are not cool.
There's no outside construction on the weekend.
Right.
So now you got Monday through Friday.
Right. You make it
You got one.
started later.
What'd you say, 1 day of pile driving?
Right.
3 days.
3 days of pile driving?
Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday.
And
And then we start later and end earlier. So they
what
don't,
else got clipped?
nothing. We
That's
took,
really it. And we shifted the hours. I think the start is 8 o'clock.
yeah, but we gotta shift them more. So we'll discuss it.
I think they'll be, the contracting guys will be happy if you shift it more, rather than just eliminate it.
Oh, we're not gonna eliminate it. No.
Or cut it.
Yeah, we're gonna have to shift the hours. All right, Joe, a quick talk about the annexation, possible annexation along Duke
So
Road.
the board for a long time has been discussing annexation. There was a reason, financial reason why we haven't done it so far. That was brought up it was brought up again to me at a meeting 2 or 3 months ago. I was told to start it again, start the process, but there's a question. The first question was whether we're going to fill in the entire unincorporated area. When I asked that question, I was told that we should do that, except not include the multiple dwelling places that are in between. In that part of, I forget the names of the places, but basically, I think it's 537. 537 is the last house in the unincorporated.
Roughly 50 homes.
Yeah, so it's my recommendation that you authorize me to start a petition without including those seascape or whatever those places are that are
50 homes.
in between.
Yeah.
And the purpose of this is, the first thing is it allows those people want to enjoy the same service that we have, services that we provide as a village that are not provided in that area because it's unincorporated. The second thing is for our village, it increases our assessment base, which means it increases our tax base.
Yeah.
And that will help us out a lot in the future.
All right, you're directed to do that.
Okay.
Okay.
So we'll start that process. There'll be, if we get enough people to sign up, which I'm told we will be able to, then there'll be a referendum at some point.
You guys get approached all the time, right?
Yeah. So what exactly do we have to do?
We file
a lot of work.
Petition very similar to our original incorporation petition. I might even use the same paperwork for good luck.
Good, yeah, I like that.
How that goes, yeah. And, but file a petition to get submitted to the town board. And if the town board agrees, then they'll set
Southampton.
Yeah, Southampton Town Board. Then they'll set a referendum date, and the people in the unincorporated area will vote as to whether or not to come into the village. Basically, in simple terms, that's what will happen.
All right.
What happens to the commercial properties? You go around them?
We're
not gonna take any of them.
We're not going down.
You just gotta go up to the dune deck, the second house.
Yeah.
Just up to 5.
Yeah.
Okay.
I thought it was 537.
It's up to do. Look, we know, we'll figure it out. We just don't.
Okay, no, I thought he was going further. I didn't know.
No,
how to
we can't.
incorporate. Yeah, jurisdiction would.
Well, John Scott's is 574, right?
I think it's 588. I think that's the first house.
Okay.
All right, basically, we did the trustees report, which is village control district, and the constable's doing employment contract. Anything else have anything to add to it? No? Treasury report we did, which is the budget. Constable's good. Joe, you just finished. Do you have anything else you want to
I
add?
just wanted to say that we didn't set the election date at the last meeting, Robin, right?
The election date, of June 21st?
Yeah. Did we adopt a resolution at the last meeting setting that date?
Let's adopt another one.
Okay, so so we need to, just as a formality, I mean, the date's set by law, but as a formality, our election date has been the Friday following the third Tuesday. Following the third Tuesday of June. So
June 21st.
Yeah, this year it'll be June 21st. So the resolution would be to set June 21st as the village election date. The election will be held at 914 Dune, the 914 Dune Road?
Yeah.
Yeah, 914 Dune Road from 12 noon until 9 PM. There's 3 offices. This will all be in the notice of the resolution. So there'll be 3 offices that are up for election. It's a mayor for a term of 4 years and 2 trustees for terms of 4 years. And I think that the date for petitions is set by law. They have we can begin the filing of petitions 6 weeks before the election, and then the date ends 5 weeks before the election.
Yep.
So there's a period of 7 days. And anything else is on the Board of Elections website.
Yeah. It's vote, it's me, Mike, and Harvey, and anybody else who wants to run, and Judge Goldman.
Oh, he's also.
He's also, yes.
Well,
I thought
that went by quick.
he was just elected. Huh?
Yeah.
Was 4 years ago.
Okay, 4 years I was. Wow.
I was gonna say.
Well, that was the COVID 4 years, basically.
Okay, so we have to adopt the resolution. We do a resolution on the
Yes, please.
election on June 21st. Gary, second, Mike.
Sure.
All in favor?
Aye.
None opposed. Okay, what is the motion? Motion to adopt a resolution approving its claim vouchers by the Board of Trustees. Motion, Harvey. John, second. Motion to adopt a resolution waiving the reading of the minutes, February 24. Harvey.
I'll make a
John,
motion.
all in favor? Is that it? Anybody want to say anything, Bill? Let's go. We're here.
They're all asleep.
Everybody went to sleep. Okay, folks, if you have any questions, I'm in the office tomorrow. Give us a call. We're there every day. Motion to adjourn.
I'll make a motion.
Seconded by Gary, all in favor. Good night, guys.
Joe's gonna be the first one out the door.
Yeah, look at 'em.
Okay, we got the system.
You want some more?
You get all your parts. Yeah, we. You're gonna have to practice.
Yeah,
I had that feeling.
yeah. You're gonna